What up, Vault Hunters? Jackson here, today with my little brother Chubbs.
Hello, everyone.
And today we're going to be doing our co-op fan review of Borderlands 3 because we're both really hardcore fans of Gearbox and Borderlands franchise. And for the first time in what feels like forever, I feel like I've been rewarded for being a fan of a property. I feel like I got exactly what I anticipated in Borderlands 3. From the top, though, I want to hurry and give a huge shout out to our buddy Nito. He bought me a copy of the game, and because of that, we were able to afford Chubbs a copy of the game, so we were both able to play it. He's the reason you're getting this review right now. If it wasn't for him, we probably would have waited on Borderlands 3 just based on a few things that we'll be getting into, but I'm glad we didn't wait. I'm so happy that Nito purchased me a copy of this game. We got you a copy.
Mm-hmm.
It's been one of the greatest things that I've played in years. In years. It's not often that you go and you pick up a game that you're excited for and it pays off.
Right.
Like, I was excited.
But no disappointment at all.
At all. I mean, I was excited in a way for Fallout 76, although we anticipated it to be what it was. When we found out they were doing emotes and things like that, we were both like, this is live service model, trying to cash in on the Destiny fucking hype train, the Overwatch hype train, this idea that there's a lifestyle game that you can get one person to play one game and have all of their money that they're spending on the hobby going into that one game. That's why you see numbers in Fortnite like $1 billion a month. That's why you see the same figures in Destiny and Overwatch and games of that nature. So we anticipated that's what Fallout 76 was going to be, but huge part of me, huge part of you, really wanted like a co-op Fallout experience.
Oh, yeah.
Wanted it to work out and be awesome.
Especially coming from playing other Bethesda titles.
Yes.
There's no amount of preparation for what they did with Fallout 76.
And there's also Anthem was another one. Mm-hmm. Another big game that came out this year that we were very we wanted it to be so good. And we don't understand why it wasn't. When you look at a game like fucking Destiny and you see the example of everything to not do.
Yeah.
And then Anthem basically just copied everything from Destiny.
But made it worse.
Yeah, made it worse. Shitty endgame grind, pointless fucking login daily activities, fucking progression locked behind a fucking grind because they want you to grind.
Because it's a looter shooter.
Yes.
And the loot all looks the same.
When you play these games, there's this feeling, and it's you know, metaphorically speaking, it's as if you're a kid on the playground again, and there's a bully that just took something away from you, and he's holding it over his shoulder behind him, and he's got his hand on your face. And he's saying, you come back tomorrow and I'll give you half of this, or a quarter of this, or a minuscule amount of this, and then you keep coming back, and you know, I'll give you a little bit more tomorrow. And he's forcibly pushing your head away from the progression of the game.
Right.
And that feels that way to me with free-to-play games, which makes sense. I kind of anticipate that sort of feeling when I'm stepping into a game that's an experience for free. Obviously, the developers of the game, the publishers of the game, people behind the game, it's a business, they got to make money.
Yes.
Right? But that's the thing, is it's free to play.
Yes.
Okay? Game like Destiny has no fucking excuse to be burdened down by the amount of fucking DLC and things like that. The devaluing of old content. That's the key thing in Destiny, that most games, that I'm sure, are going to adopt that. If they can get their player base to go along with it. Because when you add a new expansion to Destiny, when Bungie adds a new expansion to Destiny, everything else is immediately devalued as being not worth it. It's basically, it's like a tiered step, and they've put another stair on the thing, and they've made it so that going backwards down the stairs is pointless.
Yep.
Once you're up to that new content pack, you're
staying there.
This has been the way it's been done since the fucking Dark Below. The very first fucking expansion from the fucking motherfuckers, they have done this where your light level, your activities that you own are now worthless. All that stuff is bad. You gotta buy the new shit to fucking, you wanna fucking carry on grinding and farming and playing this game, you gotta fork over another $40, another $30 for the season pass. That's what you gotta do. Borderlands has never done that.
Nope.
Borderlands 2 never did that. Borderlands 3 has not done that, and Borderlands 3 will not do that. There will never be a bit of content in Borderlands 3 at the endgame that is no longer worth playing. They will fucking, if you buy the base version of the game and just own the base version of the game, they will let you play the game. They will let you be rewarded for playing any part of the game. You can go back to the very first zone at max level with Mayhem turned on and see fucking endgame legendaries. Because they have the content, they don't need the mindfuck.
Yeah.
They don't have loot boxes, they don't have microtransactions, there's none of that fucking filth in this product. And they're not worried about turning players into payers like Bungie is, like Anthem is, like Fallout 76 is, right? Because those games, let's face it, whether you want to admit it or not, all of those games are built to milk the intellectually defunct and children. Mm-hmm. That's what they're there for. They are there to get weak idiots who've never had to overcome an addiction, never had to recognize an addiction in themselves, okay with giving money for randomized cosmetics, randomized shit.
That really has no value when you consider that you're forking over real world money for an in-game item that may or may not be active in 25 years from now.
Well, it's like, look at Battleborn. Think of all the money that people spent on skins and that platinum currency in Battleborn that is now going to be worthless come January 2021.
Yep, you can't play it anymore.
Just gone.
Yep.
Oh, it's air, in aether. You've spent money on air, on textures that are now no longer active because the game is no longer active.
Yep.
And that's this. I'm not going to say that's going to happen to a Destiny. I'm not going to say that's going to happen to a Fortnite. But what I am going to say is that when Destiny 2 came out, Destiny 1 was forgotten. They no longer give a shit about it. Mm-hmm. When Destiny, the Taken King, or the Forsaken, whatever the fucking one it was in the new game, when that came out, all the other content was made null and void. Mm-hmm. You can't get anything from running any endgame activity from like the previous expansion on Mars. You can't get anything from the previous expansion on wherever the fuck, Venus, or I don't remember.
But still,
you can't get anything out. Osiris, the Curse of Osiris DLC. You can't get anything worthwhile out of those activities because Bungie is telling you, give us more money if you want to keep playing our game. And thank God for Gearbox. And that's
that somebody made it right.
They did it 100% right. Yeah. Borderlands 3 is in every aspect, very nearly every aspect, better than Borderlands 2 in nearly every way. Yeah. It's bigger than Borderlands 2. The skill trees are more in depth, more complicated, and it's the same sort of evolution that you see from Borderlands 1 to Borderlands 2. Yes. This is a company, however you may feel about Alien Colonial Space Marines, however you may feel about Battleborn, however you may feel about this company, Borderlands has been a fucking franchise that us fans have continually gotten entertainment out of, continually fucking wanted more of, and Gearbox has delivered that, and they've done it without any shady bullshit. Without any fucking businessmen in the background saying, hey, how about we turn this fucking thing into a slot machine? Hey, how about we turn this fucking thing into an arcade machine?
How about we make twice as many cosmetics and sell half of them?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Every cosmetic in Borderlands 3 is earned through gameplay. Yes. Everything in Borderlands 3 is earned through gameplay. Yes. Unless you're one of these idiots buying guns online, whatever.
It is by far the best looter shooter on the market. Yes. That you can play right now. Like, absolutely. This is the one.
Yeah, and I think even Borderlands 2 stands heads and above
all the
other Destiny.
Yeah, the newer ones. Yeah, that came out after it. Yeah.
And that's the thing. I hate this excusing bullshit. Like, Destiny, Bungie just needs time to figure it out. No, here's the thing. If they're paying attention, they don't need to.
Yeah, you can learn from other companies.
What they have done is milk the player base from day one. They've put forth this we have to do this. For money. We need money to fund the live team. Which is weird because Gearbox just shipped a complete 40-hour plus experience. 40 hours if you just skip shit. If you just skip shit, it's probably going to take the average gamer 40 hours to complete just the main story. Right? And on top of that, there's the new Maliwan takedown raid. They've added an endgame activity that is an expansive piece of content in my eyes, especially considering these other products on the market. They've added hot fixes, trying to Halloween event that isn't about getting you to buy a seasonal loot box. Like, that's why Destiny has fucking events. It's to get you dumb fucks over there playing it to buy seasonal loot boxes.
I didn't see any events in Destiny 1.
Nope. Not until they added microtransactions.
Yep. And the Sterling Silver.
Yep. Not until they added the microtransactions. That's when the events came.
Oh, yeah.
And they came with cosmetics that were only available through that fucking event that would disappear unless you got them out of the purchase loot box. Then it went to Sparrow Racing League. Oh, you want to fucking keep record and unlock all these things? Buy it. $10, buy it.
Buy it.
And that's a gameplay affecting item. But that's the truly astounding thing about Borderlands 3. That's why I would recommend it to anybody wholeheartedly that wants to get out of these fucking games with the fucking asshole behind the lines putting their hand on your head and saying, I have to do this to make money. Right? Because it's bullshit. Gearbox didn't do it. CDPR didn't do it. And both of those fucking companies have made fucking more money. They did it with Battleborn, but even there, Battleborn didn't have those psychological pulls. They did premium currency. They did the premium skins that you could only unlock through fucking paying for them. But even there, that wasn't affected by the gameplay. It wasn't like in Destiny when I level up, I get a fucking loot box that I have to open at the microtransaction shop.
Yeah.
Alright? Or Call of Duty World at War, where I gotta open the loot box I got for leveling up in front of every other player.
In an open lobby.
To try to entice the other weak-minded dipshits to fucking spend money on fucking loot drops.
Yeah.
Right? Battleborn never did that. Right? Battleborn was buggy, unbalanced, shit like that. But even that, as the example that I would put forth as their grimiest game in that aspect of money snatch, all that shit, psychological development wasn't deployed. The game wasn't built with psychological pulls. Like the fact that in Destiny, you can't trade gear to your friend. Why not? Because they once did an experiment with dipshit monkeys. And in this fucking experiment, they had slot machines. And each monkey would pull the fucking lever, and most of the time they'd get lettuce. Then every now and then, as a rare treat, a grape would drop in the RNG. A delicious, juicy, perfectly ripe grape. And they would eat it. And they would be satisfied. But the thing that the people running this experiment noticed the most was how more active the other monkeys got involved with their machines once they saw that a grape could be won, right? And that's why you get the exotic and you can't give it to your friend who's been farming it for 4 years, because they want him to become emotionally involved through jealousy, through all these feelings that are primal human emotions that go to our fucking core of our being. If you're a dipshit, shallow individual, you can be exploited.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. They exploit you.
Oh, yeah.
Destiny is a game built about exploiting children and people who are dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. I'll forgive the children because they don't fucking know any better. And if no one ever forgave me my fucking mistakes and my bullshit past addictions, then I would feel very, very unhappy about that, because that isn't reflective of who I am. Right? So there are kids who are getting trapped into this game in a teen-rated fucking game whose parents have no idea that they're being exposed to the same shit that mobsters use to fucking trap in people with VIGs and get them bleed out like a fucking credit card company, right? But with fucking, this is what they're doing. It's a peel the fucking week away, get them buying these things over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And now you have a loyal, faithful customer who's even more emotionally invested in your product because they've been handing it money like a tithe. That's why you can't go to a religious person and talk shit on their religion. They've been giving money to this thing their whole life. It's another layer of fucking attachment to the theology, to the game, to the fucking company, whatever, right? It's why with Steam, you see these Steam kids, fuck Epic Games. Fuck this console fucking war shit on PC.
It runs like crap.
Oh my god, all you have to do is download a different launcher, you giant overdramatic babies. That's it. Download another launcher. Bam. I have like 7. It's fucking easy.
Yep.
Jesus. Anyway, so that's the thing. I wanted to get that out of the way first and rant about that a little bit because that was my first feelings playing Borderlands 3. I had a lot of fucking thoughts and feelings with the game, with the story, things that worked, things that I felt didn't work, but overwhelmingly so, what works is the fact that this is an experience given to me by a company that just wants me to have fun. What a novel fucking concept. That the only thought process into building this game is, how do we make it bigger, better, and more beautiful than Borderlands 2?
Yep.
How do we get people to come back over and over and over again without microtransactions, without loot boxes, without any of this shit? Let's smooth out the gunplay, smooth out the movement. That's how we do it. We make them happy that they're here.
Mm-hmm.
We don't tell them that if they get a duplicate of the fucking legendary that they don't need, they can't give it to their friend. Because we want their friend to be jealous and feel like they want to keep playing so they can get that. Because that's all the game is. Right? It's 12 hours worth of content with a horribly rated RNG system. And the only progression being found through daily and weekly challenges. Right? And that's I wanted to open up with that because that was fucking refreshing.
It's relevant. It really is, because you're looking at a game where back in the day in Borderlands 1, even Borderlands 2, the term looter shooter wasn't even coined. Like, it wasn't even used. It wasn't until Destiny came out and then Fallout 76, and then you had games like freaking Anthem. You had a lot of, like, looter shooters.
Yeah.
And some of them were free to play, some of them you had to pay AAA price. But they all boiled down to the same exact concept, same exact loot grind.
A build for your a character with skills that are unique to the character.
Yep.
A build within that through talents and things, and a level up system, and then a loot farm at the end.
And then Borderlands 3 comes out and is like, you guys didn't learn from Borderlands 2? We fucking paved the way for this shit. Here, we'll show you. One more time, we'll show you how it's fucking done.
This is how it's done. This is how you do business. And all you little fucking dipshits that are on our Destiny videos, and on our Anthem videos, and on our fucking, all of our videos where we're fucking calling these goddamn companies out for their egregious, lazy game design that's built around lab tests involving monkeys and fucking pigeons. You fucking dumb fucks think that Bungie has to do things the way they do it to make a living? Really? Because Gearbox just blew a hole through all you dumb fucks argument.
Yep.
And I'm fucking sick of hearing it.
So with that, we're going to segue into what is our review of Borderlands 3.
Co-op fan review.
Yes. Now, you played a lot of it solo. I played quite a bit solo. But overall, we've been doing it co-op, which, as you know, if you're playing Borderlands games, the more people you have, the higher the loot chance.
The higher the experience points.
The higher the difficulty,
the
much
more
like
enemies.
Diablo.
Yes.
Much like Diablo. But to start this out, because we are loving this game, we love it very much, we are going to start out with a couple of negatives, some bugs and glitches, some things that need to be ironed out, and some shit that we call constructive criticism, because I want them to fucking, like, do away with all of these bugs and issues, iron it out and smooth it out, and I'd like to see a lot of changes. But if they do a couple of things, I'm perfectly fine with that. You know, there's a few things that I want done, but if it doesn't happen, it's like,
it's legitimately, it's things that are coming from a place where we're playing your game all day. We love this game. There's no other game we would rather be playing right now than Borderlands 3.
Yes.
And while we're playing it, we're talking to each other. We're thinking out loud, frustrations, things of that nature. And we're going to start at the top here with the bugs. And then we're going to go from there into some endgame balancing, some things that we feel could be improved upon in the endgame progression, the endgame farm, and all this stuff is just coming from a place of, I don't think I could have done better. I don't think any company, no company out there could do better.
Nobody is doing
No
better.
one has done any better than this. This is as perfect a fucking looter shooter that you could get on the market nowadays. No psychological bullshit, no fucking loot boxes, no fucking microtransactions shop that tells you that, oh, you have this much currency left over from that activity. Are you sure you just don't want to purchase this much more so you can unlock a skin? Right? None of that bullshit. It is from a place of deep love and gratitude that we're making this video, Gearbox. I'm not doing a review on anything else right now. I'm doing a review on Borderlands 3 because I love this fucking game and I love you all for making this game. So get that out there in the open right away. This is a co-op fan review. So let's start off one of your bugs.
So I'm gonna kick this off with my first top bug. It's called UI/menu bugs.
Oh yeah, this is a huge problem Chubbs is running into.
So, and this happens for me a lot on mouse and keyboard. You play with controller, I play with mouse and keyboard.
Well, another thing that Scotty mentioned is Chubbs has an older processor. It's outdated by, I'd say, 5 years at least.
But this bug that I'm talking in specific isn't that one that I was showing you last
where
night.
It just doesn't load up?
Yeah, that is obviously like it's loading.
It's taking time to load everything in because Gearbox always prioritize load times. That's why when you load into Borderlands 1, Borderlands 2 on your high-end PC, there's still some texture pop in at very first. It's because they're wanting to put you in the game as quick as possible, and it doesn't ever bother me because it clears up after a few seconds. You see it in Borderlands 3 too, where the textures are kind of blurry. And I think that's what that one is. But what are you...
Right. The UI menu bug, what happens is I will open up my character menu, or like I'll go to equip a different gun, and sometimes with the mouse and keyboard, it's not responsive. So like I'll click on something with the mouse, and it won't like register that I clicked on it. Like say I want to click on a gun, it won't
to equip a different gun.
Yeah, it just doesn't work. And in order to fix this bug, I have to like close it out and open it up.
Reopen the menu.
Yeah. And
so it's not a huge thing, but it's one of those things.
But it happens a lot, not just with the inventory, but it happens with the map.
That's
it
how
happens
I
with
find.
A lot of the UI.
That's how I find a lot of these bugs are personally. Is nothing in there is game breaking.
No.
Nothing in there is enjoyment killing. But it is hindering the enjoyment.
Yes.
Like that sort of thing where every time you're like, oh, I just got an upgrade, I'm going to open my menu and look at it. Oh, it's pretty good. I'm going to equip it. And you have to deal with, oh, I'm going to close out and reopen again.
Because it's not letting me click on it. Yeah.
Even though it's a simple fix, it's still something you're like, fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's an annoyance. So that's my top bug. Let's swap it over to you.
Okay, so my top bug is a huge problem, and I really hope they fix this. And the main reason I feel like this is a huge problem is because the music in this game is so good. It's the type of music when you're jamming and you're in the shit and you're in a very difficult activity like the Maliwan Takedown, the newest endgame activity they added, which is kind of a raid. I feel like it's a raid.
Oh yeah, well they even stated it's what their response to a raid would feel like.
Yeah, and it feels to me a lot like the ops in Battleborn, the post-release content for Battleborn, the ops, where they felt like they were a big thing. They weren't these small little missions that were, repeatable because they randomized things or something. No, these were big, long experiences with custom voice acting, all new music,
battles throughout it,
all new boss battles, all new, there were even some new enemy types in a couple of areas in the boss section.
Yeah.
So the music in Borderlands, the franchise, has always been top notch. It's my favorite. It's got a grimy sort of funk to it with some country stuff, but it just feels like when you're in the middle of a gunfight and you're pulling off badass Vault Hunter shit, playing your class, and like for example, Amara, I'm grabbing somebody and I start shooting them with my Brainstormer, which arcs lightning to everyone else, and I'm in the music. I'm feeling the music because I personally have my settings so that everything is turned down and music is at 100. Right? I got everything at like 30, except for music, because the music is that good. The music is a huge reason why I love farming Borderlands games. Always has been. I'm not the type to mute music and listen to something else like I do in Diablo.
Right.
Or like I do in Grim Dawn, for instance. At the end, when I'm played it for so long.
When you're farming, or like World of Warcraft.
Yeah. I would just mute the music, turn on some outside music, listen to some metal or something like that. You never feel like you need to do that in Borderlands because the music is just that good. And when you're in the middle of a gunfight and you are pulling off these badass shit, you're farming, and the music cuts out.
just dead silence.
Dead silence. And everything else I have muffled. Everything else is turned down. So it is immediately, it's disconcerting. It throws me off. And it's like I said with that bug, it's not killing the enjoyment of the whole game when these things happen.
But it kills the mood.
It kills that moment's enjoyment.
Yes.
When that moment happens and the music cuts out and like, I mean, it's, for instance, it's like the Maya mission with the Double D song.
But, however, I'd like to point out with that, I think that what that is only the host gets the music.
But you didn't have
It's like, what if we're playing multiplayer?
Yeah, that's...
What if I'm the host and you're just coming in and you don't get music now?
There's the Pain and Terror fight, which thank you so much for that. That alone was worth the entire fucking journey, dude. I mean, there's so much goodness in this game that's just like the biggest fucking cherry on top, having Pen and... Oh, by the way, we are spoiling the fuck out of this game.
Yes.
Spoilers will be had throughout this review. So if you don't want spoilers, fuck off.
Yes.
Love you guys, but fuck off. Come back later.
It's been out for a while, so I think we're safe.
And that's a good thing to note, is the reason it's taken us so long to do this review is me and Chubbs both wanted to level every Vault Hunter. We wanted to play every class.
Yes.
And get a grip of that, which we'll be talking about further into the review. But that's the reason this is coming a little later, because we don't want to half-ass it and just go, oh, well, this story has outdated memes.
I hit level 30 and beat the game on normal. I can do it now.
It's easy. I skipped 99% of the side content, and it's you know, the only takeaway I can really say is there's lots of guns and the story is outdated and memey. Yeah. That's every fucking review from a fucking professional games reviewer. It's like, thank God for GG Man in his review where he said straight up, he talks about the humor, but he uses specific examples, and he says in other places it works perfect. He's not just, oh, I read on Reddit that people were dissatisfied with the story, and that's the online status quo. So I'll just regurgitate that shit into my article, because I don't know a goddamn thing about legitimate video games. I just know the business. I know that they pay fucking money to our fucking website with their ads on our website, so I'm gonna fucking give this game a good review. But this other game that's not doing that, I'm gonna talk shit. That's why you have fucking all these games journals, every time Destiny drops a new content pack, sucking the dick of Bungie and the Destiny game. Just, oh, it's so good. Oh, there's lore in this one. Oh, it's 4 hours worth of content that I'm going to have to play for the next 30 years of my life until they sell me more shit and make all of this content irrelevant. Fucking dumb fucks.
Yeah.
But that's the music cutting out. I would love for them to fix that. I think it's tied to my Brainstormer in some cases. Like you were saying with that other, it's like the host doesn't get it. And then on the Pain and Terror fight with the Penn and Teller boss, they have this whole like big deal about choose your music, Vault Hunter. You know, like,
you're coming in. You need an intro song.
All three of those intro songs are fucking amazing. There's one that's more like hip hop ish. There's one that's got a metal riff, but it's got still that fucking Borderlands kind of mixtape feel,
like rockabilly funk.
Yeah. There's all three of these songs. Doesn't matter which one you pick. They're all stellar, but it like plays until you go down the elevator and then it ends.
Yeah, as soon as the cutscene happens.
Yeah, it doesn't play through the boss fight with Pain and Terror, and it's just a question of like, why is there a song that I'm only going to hear 10 seconds of?
And you see, I don't mind that it doesn't play during the boss fight. What they should have done is, because it's your intro song, it should have played during the cutscene of Pain and Terror.
Yeah.
So it's like not just for your ears. It adds like a feeling of like everybody in the crowd.
Unless you, as the player, stay in that room where you pick the song and you don't ride the elevator for a minute, you're not going to be able to hear more than 10 seconds of that song.
Yep.
If you're ready to go, fucking hit the boss and you go, you pick the song and then you start riding the elevator, it's like 10 seconds and then it's gone. Mm-hmm. Once you drop in the arena to fight them, it's gone.
Yep.
So, I'd like to fucking I know that we're doing bugs right now, but I kind of want to talk about how there's some really poorly scripted dialogue.
Yeah.
And with the holotape.
That's annoying.
So, holotapes are recording devices that you find that have notes throughout the world. It's almost like a little lore piece.
Yeah.
You can find one of Krieg, the psycho from Borderlands 2, and his love obsession with Maya, which was so cool to listen to, all of that. And I hope they bring him back, as if not as a playable character, because they say they're not doing any more playable characters, but I hope they bring him back in a future DLC as like an NPC that you work with.
Yes.
Much the same way that you worked with like Roland and Lilith and them and Brick from fucking Borderlands 1 and
Moxie and Tina
and now in Borderlands 3 you're working with, we see Maya, we see Zero, so we're seeing characters who were our player characters from the previous game, and I really hope that we get to see Krieg. I really hope we get to see Gage.
And
I really hope
Axton.
Axton. I really hope we get to see
Salvador.
yeah,
He's not in
Salvador.
it yet.
Yeah. So there's plenty of time. There's plenty of time. And at the rate this company is pushing out content, I'm sure that's going to be great. But with the scripting, there's many places in the game where the story in Borderlands has always been sort of delivered in an over audio sort of way while you're playing the game. So you'll be playing and all of a sudden Tyreen and Troy will cut in and they'll talk some shit while you're playing. There's many instances where these conversations begin at a fucking exit.
Like, you are at the door.
You're ready to leave the zone, and if you click that, you don't get to hear this dialogue, and it fucking kind of forces the player, if they want to, like, the thing is I have no problem consuming the story while I'm in the middle of a gunfight. I don't know if it's just that I've been able to walk and chew bubblegum and jerk off at the same time since I was a kid, but I'm able to listen to the music, do the game, play the game, survive, and still, like, take away what's going on with the story.
In the story.
What bugs me is when I'm forced to stop, like, for instance, and listen to someone, then pick up the holotape. Because if I immediately pick up the holotape and I want to hear that, and then it's scripted that an NPC is going to talk for the mission I'm on very soon, for instance, in Tannis's case with Krieg, there were many cases where we'd pick up a Krieg's audio tape, or what do they call echo tape.
Yeah.
We'd pick up Krieg's echo tape and we'd continue walking while listening to it when all of a sudden Tannis would cut in.
All of a sudden she's gonna tell us.
Like, oh, this is where my shop was and this and this and this. And it's like, okay, that there's a huge amount of errors there. Like, that's found throughout the game. And it's not a big deal. It's, like I said, you can stop and consume it and just listen to it while, but Borderlands to me has always been first and foremost an action FPS, like much action, much action, constant action.
Yes.
And to have the player, okay, I'm ready to go to the next step of this quest and go fight the first vault boss. I got to sit here because Tyreen's only going to start talking when we're at the exit to the zone.
Yep.
Or I want to hear this Krieg audio tape, so I'm just going to stay right here.
Where I picked it up.
Yes, and you can listen to these audio tapes later too, like, let that be known. But to be fair, it's like in Fallout 4. When you're in Fallout 4 and you're finding the whatever they're in that game.
I don't know.
Whatever. It's basically the same fucking thing.
The tape for the pit boy.
Yeah, it might be a holotape in that too. Holy fuck. Anyway,
think it is.
Yeah, either way, when you pick those up and you put it in, and there's like the dialogue about the place you're in, or like something to do with that
just like
zone.
A small story. Yeah.
And you can, if you pick that up and you don't play it right away, you go to your inventory and you're like, what did I just pick up?
Yes.
I do not know, because I have everything in my bag, the holotapes wise, so I don't know exactly which one I listened to. And that's how it is in this, is you can pick one up, start playing it, but someone cuts in immediately and you don't know what audio log it is. So you're going to go back and you're going to have to go through your holotape list in your inventory and find which ones
specifically you haven't heard.
Overall, it doesn't hurt the game. Like, it's not something I would ever say like, this fucking game is like Fallout 4 or Fallout 76 in bugs.
But that is one of those things where it's
there's just some poor scripting
it's
going on.
Annoying, and we know it can be better.
There's some poor scripting going on there, and it happened in Borderlands 2. I don't know about Borderlands 1 so much, but I remember places for sure in Borderlands 2, and a lot of instances in Borderlands 3, where the scripting is just set up in a way where you can miss dialogue, you can miss bits of the story, and some of that shit, like those holotapes, are some of the most interesting things you can find as far as story goes. It's like, you have this story that's like this, and then throughout exploration, throughout finding like cleverness, really, because some of these holotapes are hidden in incredibly hard places with really whacked out jump puzzles to get to them and things like that. So it's like you have the main plot, and then underneath that you have this entire section of world building that's going on outside of the lines with those and the Iridian notes left behind by the Siren, left behind by the Siren who helped the Iridians seal up the destroyer. So I feel like that could be ironed out. I feel like those could be scripted better, and I don't know if it's just a case of you just have so much that you got to get in there, and like you got to have the main story, obviously, that dialogue playing.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe there should be a priority given. If I do pick up a holotape and it cuts it out to do some dialogue, maybe that dialogue, or maybe that holotape starts playing once that dialogue is finished, because right now it just doesn't. It doesn't continue playing. It's just gone.
Yeah.
The Typhon logs do it too.
Yes.
There's a Typhon log in Necrodefeo at the very end after you first meet Typhon de Leon, and he's taking you down to the gate to look at the gate where you're going to open up the final vault and like do that whole machine thing, which is the entire end quest of the game. There's a Typhon log directly next to that if you grab and then you walk back up to Typhon, it's completely superseded by that one, but it still plays a little bit for a second. So it's very confusing and disconcerting. There's two Typhon de Leons talking at the same time.
And I noticed that happens with the logs in the middle of scripting, where if you pick it up and there's an NPC that's talking to your character, there will be two voices.
Yeah, it'll play a little bit of the holotape before it cuts it out.
Yeah.
And that's so those are my audio things.
Yeah, those are the sound.
The
and
audio
bugs.
bugaboos.
Yes.
I would say.
And keep in mind that we tried to have both of our lists not match up at all.
Yeah,
we have two.
We wrote our own lists, and then we sort of we crossed them out based on like what.
Like if we had the same bug on the list, it was like, you know. So the second one on my list, and keep in mind this is a fixed bug. You know what I mean? How they fixed it is kind of weird. But this is a bug that happened where I fell through the floor after the Tyrene boss fight, just fall through the environment. And I was falling indefinitely, and the only way to get out of this was to either me quit the game or you travel.
Yeah, fast travel out of the zone.
Now, how they fix this, and I want to, you know, put this in there, because it is fixed. I've fallen through the floor before, and instead of me just falling indefinitely, it kills me.
Yeah, now it kills you.
And I'm okay with that.
I think this is a problem with it happens in Dark Souls when you enhance the frames to 60 FPS on the Prepare to Die edition.
Right.
When you're down and you're fighting the what the fuck am I? Come on, the Four Kings. When you're fighting the kings in is it the old Anor Londo? What is that place? The ruins.
The ruins.
Yeah, I can't remember right now. Fucking tired. Sorry. Anyway, but that place, those dragons that are up outside on the bridge and shit, those will fall down in the middle of the fight and die.
Yeah.
Because what I think is happening in that instance and this instance is something with the load order is loading your character model and your character. And it's only happening to you as the host, or no, you were the
I was the
co-op.
Co-op, yeah.
It's not happening to the host at all. So what I think is happening is the what do you call that? The non-host. The co-op player.
The guest?
Yeah, the guest player, I think, is loading in before the environment.
Right.
I think that's what's causing it.
And that, I think, is 100% accurate. But that's my second bug on the list.
Yeah.
Kind of lackluster, but I had that one at the
top.
But
it happens. And there's another...
Because both of those
that actually ties into one of mine that I'll do next, even though it's not on my list next. But the legendaries that fall through the ground.
Yes.
And this has only happened to me once, or twice. And it's happened to Chris a couple of times. Our brother Chris. It's happened to you. Has it happened to you at all?
It hasn't.
So here's why I think it happened. Because in both instances of when this happened to me, it was I had loaded in and then immediately went to drop something. So for instance, the other night I had the loaded dice and you wanted it to try to see if that there's an artifact in the game that cuts your health by a certain percentage but increases your luck substantially. I had a couple of them. I've only seen a couple in my entire, or three. I've seen three.
Right.
One of them was Chris's, though, that dropped for Chris. Right. I personally, in my game, have only seen two.
Yeah.
And so I went to give that to your flak, so your flak could use it while we were farming one of the endgame bosses for some new gear. Mm-hmm. And immediately after I loaded in, I opened my menu and I dropped it. And right at that point, it just went right through the floor. So what I think is happening is it's still loading me.
As you're dropping.
And I think if I would have waited, like even 30, 40 more seconds, maybe a minute max.
Wait until all the textures stream in.
Yes, make sure everything is loaded in, give it a time to get everything going. I don't think that would have happened. But both instances, like when I dropped that anointed shield for Chris's gunner, and when I dropped that artifact for you, it was I had just joined your game, I had literally loaded in, opened my menu, dropped it.
Right.
So I think like that, you know, I'm not blaming myself. It shouldn't happen.
No.
Right? This sort of thing shouldn't happen. But I think that's also tied to whatever's happening with the player. And it happens in the Troy fight and the Tyrene fight.
Yeah.
That's where it happens the most.
Yes.
And I think that that's the same. Something's going on there where the floor isn't loading properly before the thing loads.
Right. So that's, and keep in mind, these top two that I picked, they are kind of lackluster, but it's because there's not many bugs that I ran.
That's not very lackluster,
well, they're not bugs that are huge, but
Yeah.
that's because the further I go down, they are going to get worse.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I put my fucking ones that pissed me off the most
Yeah.
at the beginning. That music one, oh my god. I can't explain it. I'm in the mode. I'm mixing the fucking listening. We're mixing it up with the enemies, and then boom, silence. And all my gunshots are muffled because I have all that turned down to complement the music.
Right.
And it's disconcerting. It takes me out of the experience right away. Like, it doesn't take me completely out of the experience. I still continue to play.
It's just frustrating.
It hinders it.
Oh, yeah. And it kills that moment. And then when it picks back up, you're like, oh, thank God.
And then it
cuts
does
out
it again. And it's like, good. I'm glad that my entire build on my Maya is going to, or my Amara is going to fuck up the music.
For not just me, but everybody
in my game is going to have bugged out music because of my shotgun, which is how I'm healing myself and replenishing my shield and surviving being up close.
Yes.
You know, like it's fucking frustrating.
Oh, yeah. And that's kind of perfect. You picked the ones that pissed you off at the top of yours. I kind of went the opposite. Like, the ones that pissed me off the most are down at the bottom.
The unassuming first.
Yeah. So, my third one on the list is Moe's Mech Bug.
Oh, yeah. This is one I've experienced myself.
So, I had leveled Zane first, then I leveled Amara, then I leveled Flak, and I picked Moe's last to level up to 50. The reason why this is higher on the list than other character bugs is because she's not somebody that I'm going to play.
You're not playing her a lot.
Like, all the time.
I'm not, and I leveled Mo second after Amara, and I'm not playing her at the end game. Yeah. I just wanted to get her to the end game and play for a few hours and see what her builds are like.
Right.
You get an idea for this review, because I'm not a lazy hack.
Yeah, because every character has intricacies and, you know.
Yes, there's things that need to be explored deep in the end game before you can give a proper review of a fucking game like Borderlands, like Destiny.
Yes.
You can't just play 12 hours of content and say, oh, there was a lot of cool sci-fi looking shit in that.
Yeah.
And a very obvious story that fucking was really easy to it was easy to digest. I understood it. I'm a fucking moron. 10 out of 10. Death Stranding. Worst game I ever played. It's crap, frankly. Slog. Combat's crappy. The movement is taxing and sluggish.
It's not fun to play.
It's the best fucking thing Kojima's ever released. 10 out of 10. Dumbasses.
Yeah, so the Moe's Mech Bug, let me go into this a little bit. You've had this happen because you told me about it.
Chris has it happen a lot too. He's playing Moe's as a main, so he's having it happen a lot.
And so this bug, you told me about it, and I was aware to it after because you played Moe's before me, but the mech bug is essentially when you go into the mech, when you pop her mech, sometimes, not often.
Not often. I'd say it's happened 1 out of 50. 1 out of 60 in my personal playthrough. I would say it happened a handful of times.
Well, there's a couple of bugs, and the second one that I'm going to mention happens way more than the first one.
Okay, so I'm thinking, okay, go ahead.
So the first one is like, you will, and you know what this is.
Yeah.
You'll go in the mech, but it won't put you in the mech, and instead you can't move.
Well, it does. It puts you in the mech, but it's like a half a second, and then immediately it puts you out of the mech.
And you can't move.
Yeah. Then at that point, you're stuck stationary, and this does not fix if you die. The only way to fix this is to leave the game and reload the game.
Yes.
That happened a lot when I was playing with Chris, helping him level his Zane. And because he was leveling his Zane when I was leveling my Mo, so I was playing with him a lot. And my Moes this was constantly happening with my Moes.
Right. So this one probably happened more to you than it happened to me, but
it happened enough that it was memorable, but it didn't happen enough that it was like every fucking 20 minutes I was having to leave game and rejoin.
Right. But
it was happened probably a handful of times.
For me, it probably only happened like 2 or 3 times.
See? Yeah.
But the caveat, the secondary thing that I was going to add to this is instead of me being stationary, like the worst possible scenario, what would happen is I pop my mech and it just spit me out. My mech's doing his thing and I'm able to move.
Yeah.
But it's like
you did not want to exit the mech.
No, it just auto-exited me, but I can still move, I can still shoot.
There's a Moe's build with a class mod that's built around her summoning the mech, kicking herself out of the mech, and the mech taking over and sort of doing its own thing while she's able to still freely throw grenades.
Right.
It's a great way because the mech will actually proc her splash damage chance to get grenades back and ammo back. So I've seen a lot of Moes playing like that.
Do that, yeah.
I personally was using the mech as a oh shit button.
Right.
Right? Because, I mean, the damage I had outgoing on the mech didn't equal what I had with my legendary weapons and grenade.
Yeah.
But
and that's kind of how I used it too. So like,
it's an oh shit.
Where I pop it and I have no health and it just kicks me out. And
now you're fucked.
I can still run, I can still shoot, but now I'm dead because I.
So that one happened to me too, but I would say that I didn't think about that one immediately because I was just so grateful that it didn't freeze me in place.
Yeah, it didn't stop you and you're like, I was like, I have to quit. You know,
well, like, fuck it. At least I can move.
Yeah, that's...
I don't have to quit out and re-enter the game to get my movement back.
That's why that one happened to me more, but I'm grateful that the other one only happened to me like 2 or 3 times, you know, because that's obviously the worst case scenario.
Yeah, there's something going on there. I don't know if that's exclusive. And by the way, we're playing the Epic Games version of this on PC because we're not corporate dipshits who feel the need to defend a company that doesn't give a fuck about us and is actually giving developers less money for their product than Epic Games. So we went ahead and we said, fuck it, we'll pick it up on Epic Games.
Yeah.
Nito did when he bought me a copy of it.
Oh yeah.
He knew I wanted it.
Oh yeah.
I wanted it so bad. Nito's like, fuck it, Jax. I can help you out with that, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nito.
All right, so that's number 3 on my list. Let's jump back to you to the next one on yours.
This one is also tied, I think, to my Brainstormer, which is a huge part of my build. There is a shotgun called the Cash-Infused Brainstormer. It does direct damage to one target, and if the target is close enough to other target, it chains lightning to them and does way more damage.
Right.
As Amara, all elemental damage she deals with her guns gives her healing. So I'm able with Amara to run up close, and I have a buff that gives me more damage the closer I am to the target.
Right.
It's kind of the way I feel like Gearbox wanted her and Moe's to play.
Yeah.
Was more up in the mix. While Zane and Flak are more specialty dudes. Mm-hmm. Like, kick it in the back, don't pay attention to me, man. Boom, you're dead.
Assassinate.
Boom, you're dead. Yeah. Like, that's what I felt like, I felt like Amara and Moe's are there to get the fucking attention, and Flak and Zane are there to clean shit up.
Right.
And so, like, in using this weapon, there is physics now with the shotguns, which is so fun. When you slide into a motherfucker's legs and he goes flying in the air and then you shoot him in the fucking head with your shotgun and he flies even farther, there is no cooler feeling in the world. But I personally felt in any game. Like, when I was in my mind, I was like, I want to pull this off.
Right.
And it pulled it off exactly how in my mind I saw it happening. No greater feeling in the world, man.
Right, yeah.
But what happens with the Cash-Infused Brainstormer, which I think would be a quick fix to this, I don't know about the audio bug, I think that's just, it's the sound of the gun and all of their screams being affected by the elemental status effects. It's just basically too much happening and the music system just shuts down.
Yeah.
Right, I think that's what's happening there. But with this, enemies that I chain are also feeling the effects of the shotgun physics, where the shotgun can send enemies flying.
Right.
For some reason with the Cash-Infused Brainstormer, it's sending them exceptionally far. Much farther than you would if you had just shot them with a shotgun point blank.
Right.
The chain lightning on the secondary target, not even the target I'm shooting, will send them flying up, up, and away. And in many cases, this is a good thing, and I use it strategically to try to knock motherfuckers off edges. And
kill them.
Yeah, kill them where I can, especially in the Maliwan takedown, that bridge fight. You can get a lot of those war dogs to just fucking fly off the edge.
Right.
I'll throw my grenade, which pulls. I'll throw that on the edge, and then I'll just start shooting them, and finally they'll tippy-top over the edge. Don't have to deal with that fucking huge boost to armor that they get in Mayhem 4.
Right.
So the problem here, though, is sometimes the enemies will fly off the map to a place where you can't reach.
And they're still alive.
Here's the thing. The only reason that I know it's this and not the other, because the thing is this happened in Borderlands 2, where an enemy would glitch out in the environment upon spawn.
Right.
And you could not reach them. And maybe if you were lucky, you could get them with your grenade. But in many cases in Borderlands franchise, the purpose of the quest is clear the area.
Kill all these enemies.
Kill all the enemies, clear the area. And for us, it happened in the Anvil more than once. But that's where I would say it happened the most, is when you first meet up with Brick in the Anvil to rescue Sir Hammerlock from the fucking prison, there's a certain point where Brick has to open the door.
Right.
And he'll only open the door if you talk to him, and you can only talk to him if you've killed all the enemies. And one of the enemies in the case of this instance had flown up over the map. And I only know that because Chris saw it happen.
Right.
So I would assume that the other times that it's happened in that area, it was the same thing that happened.
Right. The physics
yes.
of them getting flown.
Another thing with that is I was able to, at one point, jump up and glitch through the prison and actually end up in the prison where you fight the warden, the boss fight arena for the warden.
Right.
I was able to end up in there without going the conventional way.
Right.
He wouldn't spawn. The Hammerlock wouldn't talk to me. There was just like nothing I could do except teleport back and run back to it.
Do it the legit way.
Run in the right. So what I think is happening is some of these landscapes and buildings at a higher level are immaterial.
Right.
They're not accompanied by a hitbox. It's just the art of the building.
Right.
And what's happening is with my shotgun is I'm sending these little fuckers flying, and they're flying through that and ending up in a void somewhere.
Yeah.
And we can't kill them. There's no way to target them. And at that point, you have to quit out and start over.
Yes.
And when you do that, the spawn point, especially in the Anvil, which is why I'm using this place, this has happened a lot of places, but the reason I'm using the Anvil as an example is it starts you in the middle between two packs. And those packs can roll anointed enemies, which are the badass variants of the badass variants.
Almost
like
guaranteed.
Yeah, they are the badasses of the badasses.
Oh yeah, but they are almost guaranteed anointed, especially in like Mayhem 3.
Yeah, Mayhem 3, which is where it was happening the most. And so that one day that it happened to us, it was really frustrating because we were just starting to roll in Mayhem 3. We had just gotten to the point where we had enough guns where we felt comfortable bumping the difficulty up to Mayhem 3. And that happened, and we got killed over and over and over again. And we lost a lot of money, and it wasn't because we're not good. It was because literally the game fucked up and sent a fucking tink or something flying over the mountain into nowhere where we can't kill them. And now we've got to start over, and we got to kill everything we just killed again. But instead of starting at the end and working our way through them, or starting at the beginning and working our way through them, they're going to start us dead center in the middle, where two will immediately aggro us. Two packs will immediately aggro us. And it was a shoot until you're dead, and hopefully you killed one, and then get back up again and shoot until you're dead. And eventually we thinned them out, and we were able to finish the mission. But that's something that happened that I felt like that is going to, I mean, we're nuts, right, about this game. We're fans about this game. And when I was playing through this game, I kind of wanted to be like, what if I was a first-time Borderlands consumer? What if Borderlands 3 was my first game ever? And with that in mind, in my mind, I mentally calculated certain things that would frustrate me and make me angry and almost turn me away from the experience. That exact instance where we had very, very professionally started at the beginning and hadn't died all the way to that point where we got to talk to Brick.
On Mayhem 3, no less.
Yes, and we're punished by a bug within the game's systems for that, and then we're murdered as a cause of that, and all of our hard work that we had done previous to that is made null and void by this bug that's something as a first-time player, it would be very hard for me to get over that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I 100% agree with that one. That is like, they need to iron that shit out.
Yeah.
All right, so bouncing back to my fourth one, two, three. Yep, fourth one. All right, so this one is actually, the last one was about Moe's, and this one is about Flak. Now, me and you have played Flak, but we've rolled different specials, and we've run different skill trees, pretty much.
And I think my Flak's at 43. I'm still not to the end, but I'm at that end grind where it's the 40 through 50 range.
You filled out enough of his talent points. You can see how
I can see how he's going to play, yeah.
Exactly.
And I'll eventually level him to 52.
Oh, yeah. But so your bug with Flak is completely different from mine. My Flak is a master specialization, and I made him my main.
Yes.
So to speak. He's master specialization with a friend bot class mod, so it's all about pet.
Pet.
Keep my pet alive because I'm getting Barbaric Yacht that increases the pet bonuses, and then plus the Gamma Burst. I have that.
When they deal damage, you get more damage.
Yes,
when you deal damage, it gives his pet damage.
Exactly.
It's very much a what do you call it? Symbiotic relationship with Flak and his pet, with the build you're going.
Oh, yeah.
Where his pet is not disposable, his pet is a huge part of your build.
And I saw that and I was like, this is legit like
its pet. Because it's a robot, non-binary, whatever.
That
shit doesn't even bother me. There's a lot of people that are going out and just bashing this game for all the SJW, and it's like, what? Hammerlock has always been gay, guys.
Yeah.
Since Borderlands 2. Just saying.
It's not the worst.
It's
not the worst shit ever.
It's because it's
you know what I mean?
That's not it's like most games, that is the character.
Exactly.
This is a gay guy.
A lot of
this
movies.
Is a lesbian.
A lot of TV shows.
It's an upfront, stupid, shallow fucking
one-dimensional.
Hammerlock is a gentleman scholar.
Who
likes to travel the universe.
An adventurer.
Sending you to kill these, exotic hunts and bring the heads back for him, He's also, a gentleman. Very, he's also, there's a refinement to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A fucking sort of, like, class.
Yes.
You can see this is a classy motherfucker, Oh, and he's gay.
Yeah.
So what?
Which isn't that big of a deal.
Not at all. It doesn't matter. Like,
it doesn't.
They made those entire videos dedicated to bashing Gearbox for being SJW. It's like, dude, people exist that are gay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
At least they
exist, and they want to be represented too. So get the fuck over it and move the fuck on.
At least Gearbox is adding depth to these characters.
Let's not attack the people who are actually trying to make characters.
Yes.
With depth and personalities. Yes. Let's not attack them. Let's attack the surface deep fuckers that are doing it as a status quo.
Yeah.
That's not one itty bitty bit in Gearbox. It's the same thing with there was the Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah.
Because of the shit that the guy had said, like racist shit, I guess, towards white people. I think it was more at rich people, less than white people in general.
Right.
Because nothing he said applies to me. But, because I'm not fucking out there hotty-toff, fucking Cayman Islands and shit. That's,
Yeah.
But that shit, like, people attacked Andromeda as like, this is an SJW vehicle for propaganda and all this shit. And it's like, no. Not once during that game did I ever feel like my race mattered or that anyone else's race mattered.
Yeah. I'll tell you what is SJW propaganda that is pushing a freaking agenda, if you will. Political.
Yeah.
Okay? Orange is the new black.
Yeah, exactly.
Bam.
Surface deep fucking bullshit. Boring. That woman cannot make a show. She can make one or two seasons
watchable.
Of a very good show. And then after that, she trails into fucking crap.
It's like a burning star. Like, you see it and you're like, oh, that's pretty. And then it's fizzles.
Fucking smut. It's Days of Our Life smut.
Yes.
Is what it is.
There's so many shows like
it's
that.
It's like watching Jerry fucking Springer. You may as well just go watch that. At least that's real people.
As opposed to a show like Glow. which does have a progressive message and like kind of has
but it's
an
done
agenda,
in a way where the
but
characters,
it's writing the characters in a way that you can understand
and believe them.
exactly,
And they make you empathize with them and their position.
Yes.
That's not a bad thing.
no.
Okay?
But because everybody's got to be on one side or the other, meh.
Yeah, because it's all tribal and it's all fake and it's all outrage for no reason.
Yeah. But anyway, so Flax Gamma Burst, this is what is happening last night.
Yeah.
It's happened quite a few times. I'm not sure what causes it. Part of me wants to believe that when I'm popping it over an enemy, it's like I'm summoning my pet at the exact same spot as the enemy's hitbox. So sometimes it's like glitching out because there's collision errors. However, this happens when I pop my Gamma Burst. My whole pet build is all about buffing my damage, buffing my raw damage, plus gun damage, plus going damage further with the action skill because I get a buff while it's active, plus my pet is getting all sorts of damage, plus I have him irradiated when he raged out and it increases his
when
damage
you use your
further.
super.
Yeah, so it increases his damage further. It's a really symbiotic build, like to the point where when I saw that build leveling, I was like, that's what I'm going.
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Because this is straight up like, these guys played a hunter in World of Warcraft and was like, we're doing that, but Borderlands style.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what happens is I'll pop my action skill and the portal, the Gamma Burst portal, it pops up, animation and everything. My pet will come through it, and then the action skill will immediately cool down. I don't get my buff. My pet doesn't get my buff.
Because it's supposed to have a little duration while it's active.
Yeah, it's supposed to buff my damage and buff my pet's damage, as well as give my pet a radiation aura, which increases damage further. Sometimes all it does is the initial radiation burst
and
goes
then
away.
You don't get all the passives.
I don't get any of the buffs.
Which is a huge portion of your build.
This is my build!
Yeah, as your passive buffs from your pet and your super.
Yeah.
See, and I go cloak. So you'll still get those buffs, but there's some that are exclusive to the Gamma Burst.
Right.
And it's a very good build to go.
Oh, yeah.
If your pet can stay alive.
Ghost out, like, Flack has a lot of variety with his builds.
Flack's a straight up assassin. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's one of those things like the Moe's mech bug where those need to be prioritized.
Yeah.
Where if action skills and minute-to-minute gameplay combat shit, those need to be given priority to everything.
Yes.
Because that's what the game's all about. Is that minute-to-minute gameplay, the build.
Your build, yeah.
That's what the point of the game is. So that needs to be looked at. So my next one on my list is that some enemies, including bosses, will bug out and become stationary. The example I have of footage of this, I mean, this has happened a lot, but I don't have a huge amount of storage, so I can't constantly be saving gameplay. That's why a lot of these bugs you're not going to see in action. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I wish I had the technology I needed to sit down and every time I'm playing a game to be recording 100% of the footage. Right. That'd be really fucking nice. I don't have that. I don't have enough space on my hard drive. I just don't have the space needed to pull that off. Right. But I do have a couple of examples of this happening, but this will happen on all enemies. It happened on, this has happened on vault bosses. The big bad vault bosses this has happened to.
I saw it happen on the Rampager.
Yeah, the Rampager. So the enemy will just stop and kind of stand there. And doing damage to the enemy in some cases fixes it, like in the instance of the Katagawa ball when it happened there, dealing damage fixed him and got him back in the way of things. Right. The Katagawa balls, the little ones that are
the death spheres.
Death spheres. Those, it's happened to those a lot, where it's just, it'll kind of spin in this little semicircle, just a really tiny one, and it won't attack. And you will shoot it, and it won't attack. And you'll shoot it again, and it won't attack. And it'll die, and then it'll attack.
We've seen it with racks and
the racks in the slaughterhouse where they're just flying into the wall.
And they're just there.
Yeah, and you can just shoot them and they don't do anything. It happens in the Maliwan takedown where the ratch at the beginning, they get stuck in that one opening where they can't come out, the fog wall. So it's something like that where this is something that most players won't notice, because most players are going to have damage, especially if they're completionists and they're doing side stuff. They're not going to see this, but when you enter like Mayhem 4, where they're getting a huge, like 1,000% more shields, 1,000% more armor, and 800% more health.
Yeah.
These fights become long. And that's when a lot of these cracks or light start showing through these cracks, and you're able to see these things and be like, okay, well, this fight has gone on so long now that you're starting to see behavior from the enemies that you wouldn't normally have seen. Mm-hmm. And it feels like that's the only time most players are going to encounter these things. Most players are going to shoot the Death Sphere and it's going to die before they ever realize it's bugged out.
Right.
But those things need to be ironed out.
Oh, yeah.
Because much like your build and the character, it's the combat. It goes to the combat. The enemy AI is a huge reason you're playing the game.
Yes.
It's to kill enemies, to farm gear for your build.
But not only to kill enemies, but the challenge
of
killing
the challenge.
that enemy.
And when it's not challenging because the enemy is bugged out and acting erratically in a way they're not meant to act, then it takes some of the gusto out of the fight.
Yes,
and it
exactly.
takes some of your... It's like, why is he just
some of the enjoyment out, yeah.
And so, like, that's one thing that I hope they fix.
Oh, yeah. So, the next one on my list, and I put it on the list because I don't know, like, what the fuck is going on here. But the matchmaking.
Oh, yeah.
So, the thing about the matchmaking, and I'm going to bring this up, and I don't know if it's working as intended or if this is legitimately a bug. But it feels like a bug because you step into a game that does have matchmaking, like Call of Duty or World of Warcraft, anything that has a matchmaking of some kind. If it's intended for a full group of people, it will not put you in until you have a full group of people, right?
Yeah.
So, with this newest Maliwan Takedown site, the Maliwan Takedown, there is matchmaking for it.
It's scaled to 4 players.
Yes, they have
Even if you go in solo, the enemy's health and damage is scaled for 4 players.
Yes, they intended it for a 4-man group. Okay, it is an endgame activity. It is equivalent to a raid in any looter shooter or even World of Warcraft, right? So, if it is a raid, if it is an endgame activity intended for a full group, then if I matchmake solo, it shouldn't put me in with one other person for a total of 2 bodies in a 4-man activity.
Yeah, exactly. Because, well, it should just wait. Like, hold off. Wait until you've filled those empty slots. Before I get it, you want to prioritize getting players to the action. But, I mean, I would rather wait for a 4-man team than be put in with 2 people in a run that's almost doomed to fail.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially when it's randoms. Mm-hmm. Because that's the thing. When me and you go do these 4-man activities with 2 people, or with Chris with 3 people, we're all communicating. We're all talking to each other.
Another thing is it's also the slaughter shafts and the proving grounds aren't as difficult, right?
No.
They're not as difficult as the Maliwan Take Site, and the reason why is because the Maliwan Takedown is new content added, intended for a full 4-man group. You can run the other activities with a 4-man group, but you can also do them solo. It's not like that big of a deal. Like, I don't mind about it in the proving grounds, the slaughterhouses, if I queue for the campaign, if it
all those are soloable.
Yeah, if it puts me in with just like one other person, I'm okay with that. But if it is a full group activity intended for 4 people, it should not put me in.
It should hold out.
Yes.
It's better to make players wait for a full team that will have a better chance of succeeding against the activity than putting them in there, preemptively putting them in there to just get them to the action, to the gameplay, and it in a run that could be doomed to fail. I'm not going to say that no 2 people could pull it off in a random setting like that.
Right.
There's probably people that could. But the majority of players in a 4-man activity that's scaled damage-wise and health-wise for 4 men, 4 people in the group.
Right.
That, like, most people are going to have a struggle there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we do with 3.
Oh,
we struggle with Maliwan Takedown on Mayhem 4 with 3. Mm-hmm. So, like, and even with 4, it's incredibly hard. It's an incredibly hard activity.
Oh, yeah. And another thing that really bugs me, and I'm just going to add this on top. This isn't part of the list. There should be a lockout. Okay, I'm sorry. If you quit the activity
I got
early,
you.
like if you get into a group,
I thought you meant like a weekly lockout, like a raid.
No,
I'm like, man, fuck that shit.
No, I think you should be able to run it over and over and over and over again. But if you join a group and it's you and one other person, and that person's like, hey, dude, should we matchmake and try to find 2 other people? And that person leaves because, I don't want to wait. I want to get into the action.
Yeah.
Then that motherfucker should have to wait 5-10 minutes before he queues for it.
Yeah, I got you. Have a penalty for leaving an activity through the queuing.
Yes.
Like, you'll still be able to make your own group and go in it.
Right.
But you just won't be able to queue through it through the social menu.
Exactly, because that's another thing that happens with me. I will get in it with one other person, and I'm like, hey, should we...
No one really does that.
Should we do it? And they just quit. They don't say anything. They
I think
just
World
leave.
of Warcraft does it. World of Warcraft has that.
League of Legends.
Yeah, but that's more of a competitive, like, that's not really
Granted.
a cooperative game.
Granted, but this would be incentive for you. If you are going to matchmake with random people, you should stay and do the activity. And if somebody's like, hey, give me a second, I gotta go pee, and you leave, then you're kind of fucking that person out of an activity that they're trying to run with you. You know what I mean?
But it doesn't fuck you because you can immediately requeue.
Exactly.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. They should add something there. So, my next bug is Flak with the cloak skill. And this was something you hadn't noticed when playing him, but I was leveling him with the cloak, where he goes stealth out, and his next 3 shots, you can tweak this in various ways, but the way that I'm doing it is when he's cloaked, his next 3 shots are automatical critical hits. They deal critical damage, and he has a damage increase to buff damage with that, and with the pet and things like that. But there's a gun type in the game called Tediore, a manufacturer who makes guns called Tediore. And if you're familiar with the franchise at all, you know what a Tediore gun does. After you're done expelling all the ammo in the clip, instead of reloading the gun with a new clip, you just throw the fucking gun at him. Mm-hmm. And it explodes on impact. Sometimes it does other things. It's a great idea. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
I love myself a good Tediore.
Oh, yeah.
Wanna buy me a Tediore and shoot it up and down the road.
Yep.
Anyway, but one thing that happens with Flak and his stealth is when he stealths out, he goes invisible, and his gun takes on this appearance of, like, kind of transparency. You can still see the shape of it and everything in your HUD and everything, but it's transparent. And what happens with, I don't know what's causing it, I don't know when it happens, but what happens is your Tediore gun with that build will stay that way.
Right.
Will stay invisible and transparent even long after you're done cloaking and you've been revealed. And the only way to fix this is to go into your menu and change the skin on it, and then look at it again, and it'll change it back to that skin, and then it'll happen again during the course of his super and the throwing it and it reappearing in your hand because it digistructs a new one in your hand.
Right.
So something in that process, the gun just looks like an outline, like your stealth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those bugs, like, it's lower on my list because it's like, I'm not really playing Flak that much. I'm just leveling him to get an idea of him.
Right.
Amara is my main.
Right.
So I'm not, it's lower on the list because it's not something I'm coming up to all the time. But it's also on my list because it's just one of those things like the music cutting out.
Right.
Where it's like, it doesn't kill the flow of the game. It doesn't kill the enjoyment. It's like when you got a scratch and it's like on your gums or on your cheek or something, like a canker. And you're like, God damn it. I mean, you're not going to die.
No.
It's not severe enough that you feel completely unhealthy. Probably would go away if you stopped. You know, it's not like that. But it's one of those things that's just there.
Right, yeah.
Why? You know what I mean? And it's whatever. It doesn't really matter.
Right.
But I felt like it deserved mentioning.
Right.
Because it does fucking make the gun look kind of sort of ridiculous.
It's frustrating and annoying, and especially if you are rolling a Flak main with that specialization.
With cloak, yeah. And you get one of these, like, for instance, that pistol we got off General Trant last night on Necrodefeo, which is the Mayhem 4 gun, which for some reason, we'll get into that.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that later. The Mayhem 4 exclusive legendary.
There's some fucking weird things going on with the gear and item score numbers.
It is very weird.
Just straight up fucking damage numbers.
Yeah.
But that's one of the best guns in the game. It happens to be a Tediore. Like, right now, that is one of the best guns in the game you can get. It's a Tediore. If I was playing Flak main and I had to get one of those guns, and that's one of the easier ones to get because General Trant's kind of a pushover, you get that, and that happens all the time now.
Yep.
And it's with a gun that you're using all the time because it's the best gun in the game right now. One of the best guns in the game right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why I felt like it was worth mentioning. It's an entire manufacturer and an entire action skill on a character that are clashing and something weird's happening there.
Yes. And that, like, they need to smooth that shit out.
Yeah.
The next one is, I put down... Oh, yeah, alright, okay. I kind of, like, put down a vague description.
Yeah.
It was just Maliwan Takedown. I was like, hang on, but did that fucking tie
Was
into
that
the matchmaking?
Yeah, matchmaking shit?
No, this is different. So it does kind of tie into the matchmaking, but what was happening is when it puts you in with a group, okay, and it's like, say, me and you, and it puts us in with one other person, and we're like, let's matchmake, try to find a fourth person, because everybody who plays Borderlands knows 4 people, full group, higher loot chance, higher
loot
difficulty,
chance, higher experience, yeah, everything's you benefit 100% from having a full group.
And then especially with this raid intending for 4 people.
Yeah, scaled. Well, it's like the raid bosses in the first game, or the second game. They're scaled to 4 players.
Yes,
you can go in there and kill them solo. It's absolutely doable. But that boss has 4 players worth of health and puts out 4 players worth of damage.
Exactly. And so with this, what was happening is, say, me, you, and one other person get in it, and we matchmake, and the matchmaking takes a really long time, which is why I brought up the matchmaking and why that bothers me, especially specifically the
thing about that, though, is that could only be something that's happening on Epic Game Store.
Yes.
Because there is a huge amount of PC players that are absolutely boycotting this game until it goes onto their preferred platform.
And that's 100%
You know what?
fine.
You know what I hate? I hate console fanboys. They're like, my Xbox is better than your PS4. I hate that. Steam is better than Epic, though. I'll only buy games on Steam.
Yeah.
But those little corporate fucking console fuckboys, I hate them.
They're spying on us for
the only person bringing console bullshit to PC are you fucking people. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, I completely 100% understand that it might be tied to the player base, you know, not enough people playing. Yeah. I completely forgive it taking a long time. However, like, that's why the matchmaking for the Maliwan Takedown was my previous one, because it's intended for 4 people. It takes a long time to just find one other person.
Put you in.
Okay, and then this ties in with that, okay? So say me and one other random person, we matchmake. We want to find 2 other people.
Yeah.
It's going to only find us 1, and then we have to queue again to find the 4th, but we want to run with a full group. But the matchmaking takes so long, like upwards of 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So we don't want to wait.
Well, another thing going to this, in this instance, is when you do queue, you like, me and you and Chris, we decided I'm going to queue and see if we can get another person for this. We were on the Valkyrie fight, the first big, huge, challenging fight in the raid. And when we queued for it, we were in the raid.
Yes.
And
this is actually
what
is on my
the bug,
list.
Okay. Yeah. So what? Do you mind if I?
Oh, go ahead.
So we queued for it, and what happened is instead of loading one person into the activity with us, it reloaded all of us back into the activity. But since we were in the activity, the airlock was closed, and the only way we could get the airlock to open was by teleporting the whole group back to Sanctuary, then coming back down in. Then we were allowed to proceed.
Completely reloading the activity.
Yes, because we had hit the next checkpoint. So it starts us at the very beginning, but we've unlocked the next checkpoint. So this beginning is closed off because it thinks that we're supposed to be at the other checkpoint.
Exactly. It's saving our progress, but it's counting these new people as loading in and putting us all at the beginning. This is extremely frustrating.
Yeah.
There's been multiple times where I finally get a 4-man group in Mayhem 3 on True Vault Hunter mode because Mayhem 4 is fucking stupid.
It's fucking very hard.
We're gonna get to that. But there was one time where I was like, yes! I got Mayhem 3 True Vault Hunter mode in the raid with 3 other people and myself. But this bugged out. And so I typed to everybody in the party, let them know what's happening.
Yeah.
Like, hey, all we gotta do is
whoever's the host, port us up to Sanctuary, then right back here.
And we'll start it all over. All of us can run the activity. And once again, when
people
this
are
happened,
just like, nope, I'm impatient. I'm 5. I only watch 4-minute videos on YouTube. That's it.
Yep. We go back to Sanctuary. 2 of the people leave, and the whole group falls apart.
Yeah.
It's just like...
What would be a better idea is if you're in an activity and you open queue for the activity, just bring people into the activity. Don't reload the entire activity.
And another thing is...
This is fairly new, though. I mean, the Maliwan takedown has been out less than a month, so...
Oh, yeah. And, like, these new people that come into the raid do have a chance to come in and spectate, which that's happened to me, where instead of bugging out and doing that weird thing, it worked, and the person comes in, but it spawns them in spectate mode.
Okay, that's probably the way it's supposed to work.
That doesn't bother me, because then me and whoever else is running it, we're like, let's kill ourselves, get this guy up.
Yeah, get this guy up. We have more guns to shoot at these fuckers with.
Exactly. And that's second to the last bug. And the final bug is a big one.
All right, well, I'm done.
You're done?
I'm done.
You're done. All right. So my final bug and glitch. And this is a big one because so far that I can see, there's no way to fix this. Not quitting the game, not reloading the area. It fixes itself, which is weird.
Yeah.
Right? And I know this has happened to you.
Yeah.
And it's very exaggerated, but I'll start off with, like, when you're in my game and I'm like, all right, fast travel is there, and you go to fast travel.
Yeah, it won't let me.
No, yeah. I have to do
it won't let me but then the next time it will.
Yeah.
Because it's not like the host is the only one who can fast travel.
Right.
Like, that's not a rule that's cut in stone. No. It's just the case sometimes.
Sometimes.
And even sometimes the host can't fast travel and the guest has to fast travel.
Exactly.
So yeah.
And that is just one part of this bug. The second part of this bug is the one that I say fixes itself. And the first part, I guess it does fix itself. Like, I don't know if reloading or anything like that works.
Who knows why it happens? Who knows why it fixes? I have no idea.
But the second part, I know you've seen. I know Chris has seen. I've seen it. And I don't know what the hell fixes it. So, say we're trying... I've personally been solo farming stuff, and I'm like, all right, my bags are full, my lost loot is full, I'm done farming. Go back to Sanctuary, and I'll open up the map, I'll go to Sanctuary, and there's no fast travel point. It is just vanished.
It's the exact same bug that happens in co-op, but it's happening to you.
But it's like, no,
there's no one there.
There's been times where it's there and I try to travel, but because I'm in your game, it like won't let me travel. But it's like I'm trying to travel.
What I have seen when it won't let me fast travel is there's just straight up no fast travel points.
Like at all.
Yeah. So that's...
And it's like, that is something that is weird.
Yeah.
I've like, during that time,
you know, you close out and you're by yourself, you close, this has happened to me when I'm by myself too, but you close out and you open your menu again, and sometimes it works. And then once I had to exit and reload, and once I reloaded in, it let me fast travel right away, no problem.
Right.
After this last update, this hotfix where they gave the Moe's buff and basically buffed everyone but Amara, because Amara's the Siren and OP as shit.
Right.
But after that, when there was a weird bug where some people were having trouble traveling to Sanctuary, and instead of it opening and immediately letting you fast travel, now you just have to click down onto the thing and it lets you.
Right.
There's a lot of weird little things going on there. It's to be expected with an update as big as they gave, though. Like, that's the main thing. The takeaway is, like, there's a lot of people crying about the Guardian perks not working and things like that. There's a lot of people crying about the nerfs to Flak, the nerfs to Moe's, the buffs to Flak, the buffs to Moe's. I guess I better just play Amara. Essentially, there's a lot of people fucking doing a lot of crying. Weird in 2019 that online there's a whole legion of fucking babies crying about the best goddamn looter shooter on the fucking market right now.
Saying this is unplayable.
This is unplayable. I don't have my Guardian. Well, in that case, the entire first playthrough would be unplayable, you dipshit. Because you don't unlock the Guardian ranks until you beat the game.
Yeah. And one person in specific on the Gearbox forums even compared this latest patch and lumping the whole game as a whole as to revisiting Fallout 76.
No.
How?
No.
How can you even compare? You can't. That is disingenuous.
Well, yeah, it's easy. You just have to be intellectually dishonest with yourself and everyone else.
Exactly.
It's very easy.
Exactly.
There's preachers that make a fucking living off of it, and not just a living, a killing. There's preachers that are buying themselves private jets by being intellectually dishonest to the fucking dipshits who are fucking intellectually defunct.
Yeah.
So like that. It's easy.
Oh yeah.
It's easy.
But that's the last bug on my list, fast travel bug. It's happened to me a couple of times. I do not know what fixes it. In one case, I remember quitting the game, reopening, and it's still not being there. I remember try loading to a different planet and then trying to go to Sanctuary, and that didn't do anything. I think what happened when I got it to work, this might have fixed it, is instead of opening my map and looking at the fast travel point, I actually went to a fast travel station. So that might have something to do with it.
That might work.
Like, you go into a station, will actually show it up, and it'll work.
But the thing about that is that's one of the biggest improvements, I would say, over Borderlands 2, or any game in the franchise, is fast travel from anywhere. Yeah. That being available, that's a huge deal for
fast travel to your vehicle?
Yeah, you could always fast travel to your vehicle, but you couldn't fast travel to your vehicle from anywhere.
Right.
So, like, if you were, for instance, you had cleared an area and you parked at the exit of the area, instead of being able to fast travel back to the beginning to your car and just take off, like you can in Borderlands 3, if there wasn't a fast travel station there was no way to fast travel back to your car.
Right.
And so
that's it on the bugs. One more thing that we're going to go into that is a negative before we go into the good things.
I think we're covering all the positive things with the negative things right now.
Yeah, and this is kind of getting long, but this is the final breaking point.
It's fuck it. If they if they don't want to watch a long, in-depth, thoughtful review of a fucking video game, they can go to another fucking channel.
Oh, I know.
Trust me, everyone listening right now, they don't care. They're here because they like our long videos, and we fucking love you guys.
And that's another thing, is we wanted to take a long time on this. This is why we both created the bugs list, and then at the end of the bugs, we're going to talk about the newest patch, the problems with it,
we're going to be talking about Endgame. Yes. We're not going to be talking about... Okay, let's just hurry and brush over this. This story is bad shit. This is a status quo that's put online. This story has it's got a lot of facets to it. It's not just the Troy and Tyrene arc. It's not just the Lilith arc. It's not the Maya arc. It's not the Ava arc. It's a lot of things going on. All right. Now, some of those things are naturally going to be weaker than others.
Right.
Right. Some of those things are going to be less interesting than others.
Right.
Okay. But the thing here is that overall, I enjoy the story. I enjoy the thought that Typhon DeLeon met a siren. They fell in love. The first Vault Hunter. And during the course of their love, they had 2 children. And he was at the end of his adventure. That was the sunlighting of his adventure time, Typhon DeLeon. He'd been through the galaxy. He'd located the vaults. He'd done, he'd found true love. He'd had a head over heels romance with a woman. He'd slayed a vault monster on Necrodefeo with that woman, and then he had settled down and had children. He had lost the love of his life. His days are done. He's ready to chill out, relax until he dies.
Retire. You know what I mean?
He's telling his children, Troy and Tyrene, these stories of his glory, of his adventures, of all of this. He's telling Tyrene how powerful she is as a siren. She's telling Troy how unique he is as the only male siren in existence. So he's feeding them all these adventures, telling them about all of these vaults, all the people he met, and he is such an icon in universe that they make plays about him. They make movies about him. Typhon DeLeon, the first Vault Hunter. Mm-hmm. He's an Indiana Jones-esque type of fame he has in universe.
Right.
As like this plunderer, this person who can find things that people would never think could be found. Mm-hmm. This man who has this knowledge and this know-how, this adventuring spirit. So much to the fact that his image that you first see of Typhon DeLeon is the poster for the movie that's about him, or the play that's about him. Either way, it's about that. And then you see him in real life, and he's this diminutive figure, this really short, sort of pudgy,
stocky,
Danny DeVito-esque character.
Which,
but Danny DeVito-esque character, but because of his reputation and his deeds, he's this larger than life buff guy with like this mustache of glory, this look of adventure in his eyes.
Right.
And that you're growing up as that man's kids, and that man is telling you about all of these things, it's going to build in you a longing for adventure. And when he's constantly saying no, and trying to stop you from doing that, well, the natural is for you to go way farther out. Like, that's the thing. Like, Tyreen and Troy may have not been like that. They could have been like us,
right?
Like a vault hunter, like a
like
Mara,
noble hunters,
yeah, like doing the right thing, trying to save things, be a good person. If he had nurtured that longing instead of trying to tamp it out. And then there's this other aspect of them where they are like these very fake people when they're streaming.
Animated.
Very animated and la 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 la, you know, like Follow and Obey. And it's, you look at any of these like story time fucking YouTubers, story time Twitch streamers, where it's just a girl talking about bullshit and it's over exaggerated hype like Tana Mongju or whatever the fuck her name is. That sort of person. And it's beyond that when you're seeing these characters and they're not in that mode. They're not streaming. They're not on the public face. They're a lot more menacing and kind of more like serious.
Kind of like real characters.
They're real people.
Like,
but then the
kind of how it would be. Like,
that's
YouTubers,
how it is in real life.
Exactly. Dude. YouTubers aren't that animated. They don't talk like that. They don't have that quirky personality that keeps kids watching.
I don't know. But all I know is that no normal people act like some of those fucking people.
No.
At least no normal people that I would hang out with and want to spend time with.
Which is a nice touch to the game, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I would say that this game, with its analogous intent, and this sort of like, the older generation had done it all. They've done it all. They've explored everywhere. Everything's been discovered. What's left for the new generation except for to destroy it?
Yes.
Like, inevitably destroy it.
Yep.
I would say that this is like South Park, but less smart, because no one can touch Matt Stone and Trey Parker. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, no.
But that is a huge compliment for me. I feel like that's a compliment. Mm-hmm. Where I say that the analogous the metaphorical underpinnings of reality and murder streamers and iridium drives and all of this shit with the whole cult that they build, a religious family. They call it a family.
Yep.
You know, these aren't my slaves. These aren't my soldiers. These are my family. And they completely twist the minds of the bandits, which is easy because the bandits are fucking Mad Max morons, pretty much.
Yeah.
But
psychos.
They're psychos, you know. They're easy to manipulate, you know. And that's the thing. That's what's so cool about Troy and Tyreen, is in comparison to Handsome Jack, who always felt like he was the hero. He wanted to rid the fucking Pandora of these bandits that were responsible for his wife's death.
Yeah.
That were responsible for everything bad that ever happened to him. He wanted to take them out. And you're the bad guy in his eyes. And that's what's so great about Jack. But what's great about the Calypsos is they do something that Jack never thought to do. They weaponize the psychos. They weaponize the bandits. They make them an army for them. And if not for Amara, Flack, Zane, and Mose, would have succeeded.
Oh, yeah.
Would have become the destroyer and had eaten the entire universe and been just like this god being left in the void of nothingness.
Yep.
Because that's what it is, a Cthulhu-esque sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, for people that are just like, well, this one joke fell flat. So this entire narrative is crap. And the way that Borderlands and Gearbox deliver story is bad. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You don't. You're a fake person and a fake reviewer, and you're not a legitimate gamer. You're not someone who went into this and really, I wanted to find flaws. I wanted to find things that bugged me, but I can't. Even things that bugged other people, like GG Man with Tiny Tina. And I can respect that because she is annoying. I love Tina because I know who she is. She's a girl that was born into a fucking post-apocalyptic wasteland, had to watch her parents get murdered in front of her, was saved by Roland, and then later had to know that Roland died. Mm-hmm. And the whole Bunkers and Badasses DLC, that point where like you really feel her grieving for this. And you understand that this was a little girl that was stuck in the most hellish of landscapes imaginable. And she learned to survive by being quirky being a little bit crazy.
Well, in any other circumstance, if she's not a good guy,
she's one of those
a psycho.
Yeah, she's one of those crazy psychos that running at you, eat my ass.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
like she's one of the new female psychos that they added. Like that's who Tina is without Roland.
Exactly.
Without Lilith. Without those people who saved her, Brick, Morty. Without the B team, man. She is a villain. She is a murderer. She is a complete out of her mind psychopath. And being able to see that transition from her as a little girl to now, and like
her new animations, I want to point out how her eye was
her eye kind of like slowly fucking wiggles
it, like,
about,
tweaks out, and you're just like, whoa, did I just see that?
I love you, Tina. I fucking love you, Tina. And that's the thing. So like, Tina is responsible for some of, in my opinion, the most emotional moments in Borderlands, tied up with Roland.
Right.
Tied up with Maya, tied up with these emotional moments. And that's why people giving her shit and saying that Ava is a dumb character. It's like, Ava is like a 14, 15-year-old girl who's been told that she's going to be a siren, but she can't do anything now. And it's almost mirroring the way that Typhon had raised Troy and Tyreen.
Exactly.
The way that Maya was raising her. Like, listen, you stay here.
You gotta wait. You gotta be prepared. You know, but instead of Typhon being like, you can't do it at all.
Yeah, Maya is preparing her for the fact that you will. This will happen. Yeah. Because Maya has discovered this in-universe thing that is so Jedi to me. Where the sirens, if they have the force of will and things like that, it's almost like the force ghosting a little bit. But they're able to allocate their powers to someone they choose to give it to. And like Tannis, Angel chose Tannis because I think she just knew that Tannis had all of this knowledge and all of this stuff, and she was constantly with the Crimson Raiders. She was constantly helping Roland, constantly doing the good thing for the good of everybody. And I think Angel, through her exposure to Pandora via the link she had with the Hyperion satellites and everything in that, where she's basically any piece of Hyperion tech, she could be there and see what's happening there. And I think through that, she was able to see that Tannis was the right person to gift her powers to. And the thing is did Angel know that before she died, or is it just the natural progression of it? Because that's what we're told, is that when a siren dies, their power doesn't extinguish. It's put back into the energy of it's the Force, motherfucker.
It's the Force.
Anyway, the Force is female in Borderlands, and they do it way better than any of you fucking hack frauds over at Lucas Disney. Anyway, but what I'm saying is, you have this situation with did it just reimburse itself to Tannis because she's that way or not? It doesn't matter, because we do know that on Athenas, Maya was specifically reading the Book of Storms and preparing herself mentally, spiritually for that moment when she does die, to be able to give that power to Ava.
Right.
She's not able to do this because Troy is a whole different thing, a brand new thing. Someone who is born a conjoined twin with a siren and inherits the ability to take the power. And that's how he's able to kill Maya in that moment, which is such a good moment. I love that moment. That whole thing, I was fucking like, I should have seen it coming. And sure, it's them repeating the same things from Borderlands 2 with Brick, or not Roland. Brick, Roland getting killed. It's like, yes, it's a retread, but they don't do it like a retread.
No.
Right? It doesn't feel like a retread. It feels like something I did not expect it.
At all.
I felt like I should have expected it. I felt like I should have known that Maya was going to get iced. That this was going, inevitably, someone was going to happen. But I was thinking in my mind, like, they're just going to drain her.
Right.
Like, they're just going to take her
power. Kind of like what they did with Lilith.
They're gonna take her power and then leave her there, because they could have killed Lilith, but I don't think they wanted to. I think they wanted to leave the symbol of the Firehawk there, and they wanted to show their followers, because Firehawk was like the bandits' biggest fear.
Oh, yeah.
There was a whole clan of them that revered her as a god. So they feared her. They wouldn't fuck with the Firehawk. Like, that has meaning to the bandits on Pandora.
Oh yeah.
And when you play her in the first game, you understand why. She's an absolute badass, like Maya, like Amara. The Sirens are the most powerful class in the games, because they would be.
Yeah.
It would be the equivalent of paying a Jedi or a smuggler.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the smuggler's going to have certain skills and things that the Jedi don't have, but in a straight up martial fight, Jedi's gonna win every time.
Yep.
He's gonna win. Sorry. He's got the Force, bro. You're gonna lose this fight. And that's how the Sirens are. They have this power. They have this ability to connect to something that's going on behind the scenes that isn't apparent, and they're able to tap into it and harness it and use it as a weapon and weaponize it.
Yeah.
For the force of good, or in the case of Tyreen. And that's another reason I really like Tyreen and Troy. Because here we have not only this thought process of let's weaponize the bandits. Let's create a family cult. The Manson family type shit. Let's do that. Make these our army. And do it through love. Not through force, not through that, through love. Like, we love you. You're our family. We're a family. This is a family. And that corrupting of that, you see that online. You see these streamers like, I love you, we're family. They are so self-absorbed and shallow and narcissistic. They're posting pictures of themselves every 2 seconds. You think they have any fucks given for the 13-year-old kid who's obsessed with them that lives in fucking Wisconsin or fucking Kansas or fucking Utah, for fuck's sake?
Right.
Do you think that these people give a fuck?
No.
They don't. They do not care. They are way too shallow and narcissistic to care about anyone beyond their own selves. And if they do care for someone else, it's because those people are beneficial to them. Right? Classic narcissist, like, I need you in my life because it services me emotionally in some way or something like that. So I do care about you.
Right.
But it's not really that they care.
No. And that's another thing. Real quick, I'm going to rewind it a little bit back to the part where Troy sucks Maya.
Yeah.
Okay, this is another thing. I think Troy and Tyreen are wonderful characters. People are like, I want Handsome Jack. Why are you giving us these fucking millennial preteens? And it's like...
That's the point.
That's the point. Handsome Jack was a conceptual character. It's almost as if the good guy thought he was the good guy, but really, he's just a bad guy, killing people, right? And that's a concept.
But is he? Because that's the thing.
But that's the conceptual.
Yes. But I got you. Like, the paradigm, the fucking paradox.
Yes.
The paradox of the big baddie. Also, if you're playing, he's the good guy.
Right.
When you play the pre-sequel, he's the good guy. You know, Wilhelm, he's the good guy. You know, all these people are the good guy. The Countess is kind of a bitch after Borderlands 3, and, you know, but still, in the concept of that, they were vault hunters. They were protectors of Elpis, of Pandora. Jack set himself as the Hyperion director so that he could wipe the bandits off of Pandora.
Yes.
Because he saw the pain and sadness that the bandits caused.
Which is like, I can't remember what corporation did it, but in the lore...
I think it's Dahl.
But at the beginning of Pandora, the first company to show up to Pandora to try and crack the vault were unaware that the planet has cycles of winter.
Yeah.
Where it's like winter over a period of years.
Yeah.
Right.
Like the Game of Thrones sort of winter.
Exactly. And so this long winter happened as they were on the planet and they were trying to crack the vault. Another thing is their entire workforce was prisoners, right? They were serial killers.
I think this was Dahl.
Either Dahl...
It's Mad Max in a way, isn't it? Isn't that the case of Mad Max? No.
Well, it's like they're...
It's like Alien 3.
Yeah. So it's like their entire workforce are serial killers, psychos, thieves, rapists, murderers, any number of criminals.
It's like prisoners they're expendable. It's
Exactly.
a good workforce.
And when the winter happened, they ran out of resources or something happened that was cataclysmic to the company. And so before they fled, they released all of the prisoners.
Yeah.
And that's where you get all these psychos. That's where they come from, right? And like...
Well, not only that, you have places of, like, the first place where you ever meet Hammerlock at the very beginning of Borderlands 2. You had these places that were like civilized towns, like kind of a Western sort of feel, but they all got overran by the psychos and eventually Handsome Jack.
The mentally ill people.
Yeah.
And that's why Jack has this weird, like, I have to save this complex because he's aware.
He's seen it.
Yeah.
He had his wife get murdered as a cause of them. I mean, Angel caused it, but if they're not in that situation where the bandit's trying to kidnap Angel because she's a siren, then it's not happening. It's the bandit's fault. Sure, some blame got put on Angel in Jack's mind, but I think that's just that break when you just lose someone you love who's pregnant with your child, your unborn child, and it's at the call or at the fault of an emotional outburst. Like it would be like Jean Grey losing it.
Right.
It's that sort of a thing where an emotional outburst of a child who has this power that they can't even begin to understand the limits of, and emotionally get tied up in that moment. It's, you know, and that's what causes the death. There's going to be some misplacement of blame.
Right.
And that's why from that moment on, he like just plugged her. He used her as a tool.
Oh, yeah.
Let's be real. I mean, I think at some point Jack did love her, but I think that by the time Borderlands 2 is happening, he doesn't love anyone.
No.
He doesn't love anyone. He
And
is a man. He's a man with one singular goal, and he doesn't give a fuck about anything else at that point.
At all. And that's why Handsome Jack and these villains, like, I didn't like Handsome Jack.
I'm just saying, go
Like-
play Destiny.
like-
Have fun with Cabal Bane and like the
Well-
dark, ominous Crota.
Let me say this. I didn't like Handsome Jack in the same way that you're not supposed to like the villain.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
You're supposed to hate him. Right? So when he's taunting you, being like, will you go kill yourself? Thanks, Pumpkin.
Thanks, Pumpkin.
It's annoying, and it's supposed to get under your
Yeah.
skin, and you're like, fuck that guy. I'm gonna
And
kill
then
that
you get
guy.
build up to that moment where you do get to fight him and you take him out, and it's like
Exactly.
That's why it's so good, because he's been talking shit the whole fucking time.
And that's why I like Troy and Tyreen. People are like, these are the worst villains Borderlands can ever give us. Okay, first of all, if you're talking shit on the story, the humor, and the villains, go play pre-sequel. I dare you to play the pre-sequel. There is not a single joke in that made me laugh. There wasn't a single thing about that game that I found as wonderful and enjoyable as any other games in the series.
Yeah, even the class system in that was really boring.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to talk shit on anyone who likes that game, but I would just say like the same thing about like the Tales from the Borderlands games.
Right.
I'm not going to say that that's not a valid form of game, that's not, you know, a good whatever.
All I'm gonna say,
I never played it because I don't like point and click games.
All I'm going to say is if you don't like the story of Borderlands 3, if you think the humor's bad and you don't like the villains, go play that game and then come back.
Pre-sequel was, I did not like it.
Like,
I played through it and I didn't like Wilhelm. I played through it on Wilhelm. I didn't like Wilhelm's builds or anything like that. I kept thinking to myself, this is going to get better once you get more powerful, because they're all like that. Once you fill out one skill tree in any of the games, it's like, fuck yeah, we're going now. We're farming. This is when the action starts.
Yeah.
And pre-sequel didn't feel like that to me. Story-wise, I don't even remember.
The story was...
I remember it involved the Iridians. Lilith was there in the beginning, and I think that's all I can remember.
All right, so it's certain jokes like the very, very beginning that didn't land for me.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, in a game like Borderlands, the people at Gearbox are self-aware and very sarcastic.
Yes.
Right? If they're making a joke... they understand where that joke is coming from, even if it's beating you over the head.
Yeah, even if it's obvious.
It's like what we were saying about that side quest, the head case.
Yeah,
Vic.
there's a girl that's like slapping this
Slapping,
she says
slapping.
she replaces fucking with slapping, and it's the most annoying goddamn thing I've ever heard in my life. I hate it.
And it's either A, somebody thought that was the funniest thing in the world and just genius and created an entire character whose whole point is to say slapping, or they know somebody in real life who does that,
and it annoys them.
Annoys the fuck out of them.
And they were like, let's just put them in the game, because that's annoying as shit.
Yeah.
That would be funny. Let's do it.
Exactly. Yeah. And so they're very self-aware of the humor. They're very self-aware of the story elements and the conceptual characters.
The game's funny. They got a better performance out of Ice-T.
Yes.
Ice-T is in this game. He gave a better performance in this game than Peter Dinklage did in fucking Destiny. And I'm not gonna say that like that's because Ice-T is a horrible actor. He is a competent actor, but he's not Peter Dinklage.
He's not winning an awards.
Peter Dinklage is exceptional. He is an exceptional actor.
He is an artist actor.
Yes.
He goes deep and he feels it in his bone when he acts.
And when he's in Destiny, you just tell he's reading what they tell him to read.
He's probably reading the script just like, what the fuck is going on?
Even when he acts surprised, like, oh.
Yeah.
It's like...
he's just like, what the fuck is going
on,
Luke?
He was not into it. But you have Ice-T in this game, and Ice-T is like, can it, Genevieve? I got a friend now.
Yeah.
That shit made me and Nito and you laugh so hard Because it's just funny. Like, I got a friend now. Like, he hasn't had a friend. Because he's a fucking computer program that's been stuffed into a teddy bear and thrown off the ship into the fucking swamp and eaten by a T-Rex.
And when you first hear him and he's telling you, I'm in the middle of something, and that something is a big fucking T-Rex.
Yeah,
Get me out of here!
dinosaur.
You know, and this dinosaur comes crashing in, and it's
I'm kind of in the
fun.
middle of something. I'm in the middle of a big-ass dinosaur.
Get me out of here, you know?
Yeah, or like when you beat the game and you come back to the ship and he's like, everybody listen up. This motherfucking Vault Hunter just saved all your lives. So show him some respect.
Peace. You know?
Peace. Yeah. It's great. He's great in it.
Oh, yeah.
Like
But
we
going
talked
back
earlier,
to...
Penn and Teller
Oh,
are
yeah.
in it.
But going back to my original point with Handsome Jack. And the problem with the pre-sequel, I want to wrap this up real quick. The very first joke didn't land, okay? And the reason why is because it is sarcastic and it is self-aware of the humor elements, but it literally felt like somebody else was making fun of the people who made the game series to begin with. Because this is a different company, it's 2K Australia, and in the first intro, you're hearing, who was it? Maya Zero, the characters from Borderlands 2. They're interrogating Athena, and then all of a sudden...
I think it was Lilith, and I think it was just Lilith.
I think it was a couple more were there, but...
Could have been Brick, maybe, and Morty.
But the biggest joke is, this one starts on a spaceship. That's way cooler. All ours started out with was on a bus.
Yeah.
It's like... Why is that need? Oh, because you're so proud of this intro and you're trying to be witty and humorous, and it didn't land.
The pre-sequel does a lot of things better. I will say that. The pre-sequel adds the jump and low gravity mechanic, which I really like, and it makes a return in Borderlands 3.
But I hate the humor.
Yeah.
I hate the humor.
I honestly, I couldn't tell you what the story even was. I know you go to like Concordia and Moxie's there, but like legitimately, I could not tell you what the story
I know Handsome Jack
had
says,
something to do with the Iridians, something to do with Jack.
I know
something
that
to do with his obtainment of Hyperion. I think that happens throughout the course of the game.
Yeah, it's
I think
in between 1 and 2.
Well, I think that's why so many people like the pre-sequel more, is because honestly, it does add like some more depth to the Borderlands 2.
Right, it adds more story.
Which I think that's why, and I think that's why most people like it. But I think most people would say that, like, build-wise, I mean, Borderlands 2 is just more interesting, and Borderlands 3 is way on next level shit. I mean, each character has 3 skills, so there's actually 12 playable characters.
Right.
If it was in the instance of Borderlands 2, where you get 1 skill tree and then or 1 action skill and then you tweak it. In this one, everyone gets 3, and there's 4, so that's 12.
Right.
And that's and it's true.
It is.
There is 3 different action skills to choose from on each of the 4 characters.
And multiple different varied builds.
They play different.
But the humor, like, that's why I wanted to bring this up, because it's like, in the pre-sequel, Handsome Jack, in the introduction before you go to Elpis, is like, son of a taint.
Yeah.
Because, like, some 10-year-old... It's like almost like somebody who had the maturity of a 10-year-old heard that and was like, that's funny, let's have him say it 6 times before they start the game.
There's stuff like that in Borderlands 3, like the slapping girl and other things, but to me, in my eyes, Borderlands 3 overall has a very well-structured narrative.
It's not
random. In universe, it's the most gripping and aesthetically the best work that Gearbox has done to date.
Yes.
The look and feel of this game is the best product that Gearbox software has shipped to date.
Oh, yeah.
And that it's the best looter shooter that has been shipped to date.
Oh, yeah.
And the only reason that is because it's Borderlands 3 and not Borderlands 2.
Mm-hmm.
Borderlands 2, up until the release of Borderlands 3, was the best looter shooter on the market.
Oh, yeah.
In my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, Borderlands 2. Borderlands 1 falls closely behind. And I'm not attached or really care about the pre-sequel at all. I don't mean to offend anybody who is. I understand. It wasn't for me.
I'm just talking.
I'd rather play Borderlands 2.
I'm talking trash on it because the biggest complaint that I hear about Borderlands 3 is the humor's bad, the villains are bad, and all of this shit with the story. And in my opinion, the weakest out of any of these games is the pre-sequel.
Yeah, it's the least memorable.
and it's like random humor. It's not like constructed. For example, I think the most annoying part in Borderlands 3 is the part where Genevieve is like, you want to hear some dirty talk?
Yeah, that's exactly the example that GG Man used in his video. And it's true. Sometimes they hit you over the head a little too hard.
But it's context makes sense. This is his ex-girlfriend who put him in the body of a stuffed monkey who's sending or teddy bear. But is also sending a slew of monkeys at him.
Yeah.
And she's also talking trash on the fact that he couldn't talk dirty when they were making love or whatever.
These stupid primitive monkeys can.
Yeah, and she's like, you want to hear some? It's really beautiful. Yeah. And then it goes on for the entire fight. Which contextual, it makes sense because it's like
but
I
also,
said, all
here's
those
the
points.
Here's the thing. That may be annoying that she's doing that, but the punchline is after she does it for so long, Ice-T is like, "Wow, sorry about that. That was super uncomfortable."
Yeah,
and it's because he
They're
understood.
self-aware.
Yeah, he like understood what she was saying. She was talking like sex shit from monkeys to him, and he understood it, and that's why he's like, wow, that was uncomfortable. But meanwhile, to the player, it just sounds like a bunch of ooh, ooh, ee, ee, ah, ah, ah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's I thought that was a funny moment.
Oh yeah, and it's self-aware about it. That's why he says, wow, that was uncomfortable.
I really, like, I didn't have any, like, my only problem.
As opposed to that, where is the context in Jack being like, son of a taint?
Yeah.
Son of a taint! Son of a taint!
Yeah.
Like 6 times saying the word taint like
or
it's the
slapping.
funniest fucking
That's
word
the thing.
in the world.
Slapping, that slapping joke. That was annoying.
Right, that was annoying.
The thing is there's things there that will bug you.
Oh yeah.
Right? Sometimes some people may not be able to handle Tiny Tina. Mm-hmm. I love her. Right. I love Tiny Tina. She's one of my favorite characters in the Borderlands franchise. I like the depth that she's given through the course of Borderlands 2 to Borderlands 3.
Right.
I like the person she ends up becoming. I find it makes sense. Right? Everything about her character, everything, I find it makes sense. Mm-hmm. And it's the logical evolution to who she is.
Right.
Right? So, like, that's the thing is it's just, take what you will. In my opinion and your opinion as Borderlands fans, this is the best written one. Mm-hmm. This is the best written one. It has
ties in the sci-fi
I think that the new characters are all great. I like all the new characters. I like the characters they brought from Tales from the Borderlands that I was unfamiliar with. I grew to love Reese. I grew to love what's her name, the chick, Lorelei. I grew to love Lorelei. The whole coffee mission with her is amazing. I love it. I'm like, I feel the same way. Like, I gotta have coffee when I wake up. It needs to happen, right? Fucking now, I need coffee.
Yeah.
I need coffee. And it's like that extreme evolution of, like, that addiction to the point where she's, like, sends you on a murder spree.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, kill that guy, I need his mug. I
need his fucking thermos. You do not understand. I haven't had coffee for, like, since this goddamn invasion started, and I need a cup of coffee.
And then you get it, and it says Coffee Commander, and she's like, oh, that is so totally mine.
And so, like, that's at the end of the day, if you want our opinion as Borderlands fans, this is the best
on the story.
It doesn't get better than
everything that people have been complaining about with that shit. It's just
it's surface level, and it's because they're dumb.
Yes.
Sorry.
Now, to get to the real problem, the Maliwan takedown update with Mayhem 4, the real issue.
Yeah, let's talk about guns and Mayhem difficulty. And so, oh God, where do you start? So when you beat the game, the first time, you unlock a couple of different things. One of them is Guardian ranks, which is the equivalent of a badass rank, and it works much the same way. Each time you level up, you pick a stat. It gives a buff to one certain thing: shield recharge, health, damage, grenade damage, whatever.
But it's amped up to the degree.
Yes, because they've also added within that, they've added, as you dedicate more points into certain skills, like damage, for instance, you slowly open up perks that are in this damage tree. And it's a very great endgame progression. On top of that, they've added Mayhem mode, which Mayhem 1 will add one modifier that hurts you and one modifier that buffs the enemies. Or possibly could help you in some cases, because there are positive benefits.
Yes.
And then that goes up to Mayhem 3.
But no matter what, you're getting more experience, more money. They get more health, shields, armor, right?
Yes.
So it's a difficulty.
It's a trade-off. Yeah, it's a trade-off. You're getting the rewards, but here's the problem. With the Mayhem, they've just had it increase quantity. of the loot that you see. So one of the things benefits to playing in Mayhem 1 is you have a better chance of seeing legendary gear than normal.
Right.
And Mayhem 2, same as Mayhem 1, Mayhem 3, Mayhem blah blah blah.
So on and so forth.
Yes. The problem here is that the guns that are dropping in Mayhem 1 are the same damage and the same modifiers and everything as the guns that you get in Mayhem 3. It's just in Mayhem 3 they're dropping a little more frequently.
Right.
Mayhem 4 dropping the same damage numbers outside of these examples that we'll get into, which make no fucking sense. But outside of that, they're dropping the same legendaries that you can get in normal. So really at that point the only incentive to the player is frequency of drops, not quality of drops. So if I have 4 guns that are solid legendaries, and I have a solid class mod, and I have a solid grenade mod, and I have a solid, build going with my guns, that everything is working out perfectly, then I'm actually incentivized to run it on Mayhem 2. Right?
Right.
Because I'm going to get the same drops.
Oh, yeah.
And I've already got the best guns I can get.
Exactly.
So at this point, I'm farming loot for just like basically to collect them. I got over 200 of them in the vault.
On top of that, you're leveling up your Guardian ranks. So,
Yeah,
you want to fill out those perks.
So that's the only incentive to bump the difficulty up to a Mayhem 4 is 4 XP and increased iridium and increased cash and increased drop rate. But here's the thing.
One thing I want to...
Chris made this point, and this is a great point, and it's a great argument, is he's saying it's better, like in Diablo, to bump it down a few notches where you can go fast. Mm-hmm. Where if I want to go to the Anvil, for instance, I could put it on Mayhem 4 and it might take me a half hour to clear the whole place or an hour to clear the whole place. Or I can throw it on Mayhem 2 and just boom, that whole pat is dead. That whole pat is dead. That whole pat is dead. And by doing that, you're ultimately going to end up getting more XP, more money, more iridium, because you're doing it faster. At a faster rate. You're killing enemies at a faster rate. And on top of that, you're going to get the same drops.
Oh yeah.
You'll see less legendary drops, but it's going to be the same damage on the drops when they do drop.
And another thing that I want to jump in with real quick is the luck stat. And this is arguably the most important stat. Now, there's not much information about it online, and there's people saying, it doesn't help, it's a placebo. In my experience,
it absolutely 100% makes a difference.
Because playing Zane and leveling up my very first character without Guardian ranks, without even that much luck, you don't see many legendaries.
You see a few that are given to you through the course of the game, like for quest rewards.
You see more than Borderlands 2. For sure.
You know what it felt like to me was the new X pack that the Montreal Borderlands studio kicked up.
Commander Lilith?
Yeah, Commander Lilith and the fight for Sanctuary. It's more like that, where we were going in there at like level 25, 30, and we were seeing legendaries off of every boss.
Right.
That's how this is. Like, if you kill a boss, odds are you're going to get a legendary. If you don't, and you kill him 5 times, you will see a legendary.
Yes.
You will see a legendary if you kill one of the bosses 5 times with no Guardian ranks at all.
Absolutely. But, and then you go on Mayhem 3, and I remember when I first beat this story, because the Guardian ranks unlock after you beat the story.
Yes.
You don't even have to hit max level, right? So when I was leveling my Zane, I think we were I was still leveling up to 50. You were already 50, and we were going through on Mayhem 3. What was happening was, because you had stacked your luck, you were seeing them like
legendaries all the time.
And me, while I was still leveling up that luck, the drops weren't as frequent.
When I unlocked the Guardian ranks and I saw that luck was a stat that could be chosen, that stat was what I chose every time.
Yep.
If it was on the list, I was choosing it. And I was digging into the Hunter tree because the final perk in the Hunter tree increases your luck after a kill.
Yep.
So if you kill a bunch of things at once, or you're killing a boss and you're killing adds at the same time, it increases. It makes a difference.
Oh yeah.
On top of that, there's the artifact, the loaded die,
Yep.
which takes a little bit of your health at the expense of your health. You get a big, huge, substantial increase in luck. I will not kill a boss in the game now and not see a legendary. And if I do, and there's not a legendary on the boss, and then we kill him again, there'll be 5 this time.
Right.
4 this time. 3 this time.
Yes.
If I bunk out and get Bubkiss on one of the boss kills, It will be made up to me later.
Yes.
And I will average, if we're farming a boss like we were farming General Tron on Necro to Fail last night, I averaged at least 3 legendaries a kill because of that. Even though it came up Bubkiss a few times, there were sometimes 6 legendaries, 5 legendaries off.
Right. And with that...
And his ads in the place were dropping legendaries.
Right. And with that, let's jump right into the issues. Because
Yes.
I'm going to go into this like, you only had how many Bubkiss rounds when we were fighting Tron?
Yeah, I only had a few. I had like 2 or 3 times where we didn't get it, where I didn't get anything.
All right. And your luck is around 11%, right?
I got 11% in the Guardian, basically if you rounded up 11.
But
and then on top of that I had the loaded die.
now that doesn't tell you how much
Does not tell you how much, it just says substantially increases your luck.
Right, and me and the luck perks, I have 13.55%, and I'm rolling with the same one. And out of all of our farms last night, I think I got like 4 or 5, maybe more Bubkiss rounds.
Well, I remember that for sure. When it was time that my bags were full, you still had about 5 slots open.
Yes.
And I was letting everything that I could no longer pick up stay on the ground, and because they have a mail delivery system where they'll send you any lost loot.
Right.
Unless you drop it on Sanctuary and it falls through the fucking floor.
Yeah.
Then you don't get it back.
But examples of like that are why people think it's a placebo, even though I can say 100% the luck has helped me.
It is.
I have more luck than you, and my drops are lower than yours, so you know what I mean?
Well, the thing about that is I'm doing a lot of AoE.
That is true.
All of Amara's shots have my Mara has a chance to ricochet and hit nearby enemies. And I'm killing those guys. I'm killing ads with that through the whole fight.
That is 100%
So it could just be that I'm killing a few of those guys right as we kill him. So like my luck is increased a few for each one of those bodies that dropped.
And it very well could be, but in either way, we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
What are the rules?
What are the fucking rules, Gearbox? Because here's the thing.
So now we're gonna go into the Mayhem 4.
So here's the way I would have had this work before we continue to Mayhem 4. This is the way I would have had this work. I would have had luck increase frequency. And I would have had Mayhem increase quality. So if I get a legendary in normal, and then I get a legendary in Mayhem 1, the Mayhem 1 legendary is going to have better damage. Period.
It's not guaranteed.
No, not guaranteed.
But it has a chance.
So here's what I would do for that. I would say 100 is the minimum damage it can do, and 200 is the maximum damage it can do, whatever that is.
Right.
I would have it be 100, 200 in normal, and then from Mayhem 2... or Mayhem 1, I would have it increase the minimum being the maximum from the previous difficulty. So for sure in Mayhem 1, it's going to drop 200 damage.
Right.
Up to 300 damage, for example.
Right.
And then in Mayhem 2, 300 now becomes the minimum.
Or Mayhem 3.
Yeah, Mayhem
300.
Yeah, whatever. Mayhem 2, Mayhem 3. I'm including normal in this.
Oh, okay.
So Mayhem 2, the minimum or the maximum for Mayhem 1 becomes the minimum in Mayhem 2.
Right.
And so on and so forth. It gives you a feeling of an end game progression that feels like, okay, I've gotten these out of Mayhem 1, let's turn it into Mayhem 2. And for a while, we thought this was the way it was working.
Because that's how we did it.
It was because we were seeing an increase in frequency.
Right.
Right. It wasn't quality. The quality was from the quantity.
Yeah.
We all of a sudden, instead of having 1 legendary out of 2 hours of play, we now had 20 legendaries out of 2 hours of play.
Yes. And
because we've gotten our perks, but the luck maxed out. We got these other things that increase our luck. Either way, we're getting much more, and that's where the quality came from.
Yes. Quality is 100% RNG based.
Yes. Now, legendaries are also having an issue where epics are dropping with higher damage numbers than legendaries. I think this is a way to control the output of legendary damage, and I think that legendaries have less damage because legendaries also do interesting shit.
Yes.
Right? It's like, yeah, I can use this epic which has 800 damage, or I could use this legendary which has 400 damage but chains lightning to other characters.
Yeah.
Which does AoE damage.
Has like a weird own little unique...
there's little things for every legendary that are not apparent from the number screen.
At all.
From a score-based thing, from a damage-based thing. But here's the problem. I should be able to trust damage and item score if they're going to be there.
You can trust the stats. That's what I've learned.
You need to trust,
Like,
you can't trust the stats.
Well, not anymore.
That's what I'm saying.
But what
you
I'm
cannot
saying
trust the
is
stats.
before Mayhem 4, I would trust the stats
and
over
it,
the
and it
item
worked,
score.
Yeah. And it
right?
worked out, yeah. This said it does this much damage, and it's more than that gun.
But it
and,
drops the item score by 50. Yeah. I'll try it.
And it doesn't matter. It ends up being better.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. I got you. But with this new Mayhem 4, the increased enemy health, shields, and armor is astronomical compared to Mayhem 3. They kind of balance this a little bit by having less modifiers be there. It's just one beneficial, one debuff modifier.
Right.
And so, with that, it balances itself out that way. But the problem is that it's still taking us a long time to kill things. And we have the best of the best guns we could have gotten in Mayhem 3. We've farmed Mayhem 3 for a month now. We've done some pretty hard farming in Mayhem 3. I've got over 200 legendaries in my bank. I have 4 legendaries on me, and Mayhem 4 still feels like, and here's the thing, it's not interesting or fun, right? It's not challenging. It doesn't feel like it's hard. It feels like it's tedious.
Yes.
It feels like when you're shooting an enemy and you're dumping fucking bullet after bullet after bullet into this enemy and you can't even see the life bar drop. It's not challenging or hard. No. It's just tedious.
It's bullet sponges.
It's boring.
Yes,
it's
boring.
Fucking boring.
Extremely boring.
And I would put up with that.
Yes. Yes, we would 100% not mind taking 20 minutes to kill a boss. As long as after we kill him, we get something that shaves off the time by what?
And even,
5 minutes?
Yes, and even if it doesn't happen every time we kill him.
Right.
But if we kill a boss and we getting constant legendaries, and all of those legendaries have the same damage numbers as the guns we get out of Mayhem 3, we're now scratching our heads saying, why are we playing Mayhem 4 other than to get our dick hard and say that we did it?
Exactly. And we're not talking about like, oh, we killed a boss once, it didn't drop anything. No, we're talking about over 100 empty.
Over and
yeah,
over
I'm
and
talking
over
about
again.
over 100 empty bag slots. That's just for me. So with you,
don't
it's like
have 100 bag
well, I mean,
slots.
with how many times we farmed, went back, and
Oh
filled
yeah,
up.
yeah. Oh, I got you.
You know, I was filling up at
because
least
we dumped
100
and refilled, dumped, refilled,
and refilled like 2-3 times.
And most of this stuff we're just selling.
Yeah,
we're just selling.
Like out of last night,
I had so many duplicates and things that I just didn't need because I had better ones in the bank.
Yes, the most recent farm that me and you did, and this was my breaking point before this happened, right? But the most recent farm was last night. Me and you, all day yesterday into last night, we're killing one boss, General Trot on Necro de Feo, okay? And it was literally...
And why were we killing him, though? That's what you need to talk about.
All right, because I did some research, all right.
And if he hadn't done this research, we would have no idea that this was something that was a thing.
And this is so stupid.
It's so
It is
stupid.
shitty and a bad mechanic, but you know what? I'll take it over having nothing.
Yeah.
Because incentive
but it could be,
incentive.
But that's the thing. Incentive is incentive, but how do you know that that's good? Because, so there's a gun. They added 7?
7.
They've added 7 new exclusive legendaries to Mayhem 4. These guns have lower item score, lower damage, lower everything.
Lower every stat.
Everything. Lower everything. I equip it, we go in there, and this 10-minute boss fight just turned into a 2-minute boss fight.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. How I found out about this.
If you hadn't told me, Jax, we're farming this gun.
We need to.
This gun off this boss.
We have to.
This is the one we need. I saw this guy use it. It's insane how much damage it does in Mayhem 4. We need these guns.
Well, actually, that gun, that guy.
Still.
And this is a problem.
It's on the list. It's one of the 7 of the new guns.
Yes.
It has lower item score than anything I had. Any other pistol I had. This pistol had
490.
By like 100 points. Lower.
Yeah.
Damage wise, like 200 damage points lower.
No elements.
Clip size, like 3 or 4 bullets less. Less fucking handling.
No elements.
The only thing
on
that's
your
faster
Amara,
on is
too.
fire rate. Yeah. The only thing that's faster on, Amara, who needs elemental weapons.
Yeah.
Just slaughtered him.
elements.
Just slaughtered him.
Fucking wiped him.
Just wiped him. What it turned into a long ass fight was all of a sudden
We've
really
been
fast.
having to use shock damage to drain his shield for
the-
10 minutes,
the
and your
problem-
non-elemental
yes.
gun is gonna
The
just
problem
wipe
here
it.
is I like the idea that item score doesn't matter.
Right.
I like that idea. The item score is more of just a thing that you look at to be like, oh, I bet you that rolled a lot. Because each weapon has many attachments. And those attachments can roll bonus buffs or negative buffs.
Right.
And that, I think, is how the math behind the item score is done. I think it's based on those. But this gun's... I need to be able to trust damage.
Yes. Trust stats.
Because if I had not known that this gun was one of the new legendaries added exclusively to Mayhem 4, it would have been scrapped.
Yeah.
It would have been, well, I probably wouldn't have scrapped
You probably
it.
would have
I've
kept
been,
it.
especially since they've been so generous with the bank space and they added 300, 300 now slots.
You're
Up
trying to
from 50.
collect one
Up
of
from
every
50.
gun.
Yeah, up from 50. I've been collecting one of every gun, and before that buff to the bank storage, I was only keeping one of each type. But now I'm afforded the ability, I can save, like, say I get a fire, the Mario gun.
Right.
Right, and it's got, or not, that's a bad example. Let's say like the Fraser, or the phaser.
Yeah, the
phaser gun, the
The
engulfing
AR,
phaser. Yeah.
yeah.
The AR, the Vladoff AR. That gun, I was, if I had a fire one and I got a corrosive one, I had to.
You'll hang on to it.
I had to trash the corrosive one.
Right.
I had to before this buff. Now I'm saving it. So I've got a phaser that does fire. I got a phaser that does corrosive. I got a phaser that does cryo. I got a phaser that does nuclear now. Right? So I'm able to collect more of them in that way. But in this gun would have been thrown in my bank.
Yeah.
And it would have sat there. And I never would have used it. If I'm meant to believe that everything I know about every looter RPG ever, forever, ever.
Just what you know about this game.
Yes.
No elements.
Borderlands 2.
No
Borderlands
elements.
1.
Yeah.
If I'm following if I'm looking at damage as an indicator of how good something is, not even the item score, because like I said, I do like that. I like that that's immaterial.
Right.
And that you could have a weapon with a 621 item score that is just crap. I got one it's a cryo phaser, ironically enough, and it's crap. It's crap. It's got a 621 item score. The highest item score I've seen on a gun. It's crap. The damage is low. It doesn't do shit because it's cryo. So like and Amara really is not really benefiting from cryo.
She's all about elemental status effects.
So like that's the thing about it is if I'm following that, I'm looking at this pistol and I'm going, that's garbage.
Yes.
It's garbage. And if I'm someone who already has a full vault, I'm selling it. And I've now just sold one of the best weapons in the game.
With no indicator on it.
Because I didn't go online and do my research behind the scenes. I was taking your damage as the indicator of how good this is.
And especially playing the frustration of Mayhem 4, where it's
you
like
use it and it's not.
you're using lightning to drain a shield.
Well, you
and
use this pistol and it doesn't have really any quirks.
no.
It doesn't do anything really exceptional. It's just your basic standard TDR pistol.
Yep.
Shoot it. Once you get to reload, throw it. It blows up. But it's doing a colossal amount of damage that I would have no idea based on the damage that's listed on the weapon.
At all.
So what
this is where we found out about this information, okay? So after Mayhem 4 dropping and the Maliwan takedown, we've ran the raid multiple times in Mayhem 3 in both normal and True Ball Hunter mode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The biggest thing about the raid and these new exclusives is they don't drop in Mayhem 3 in the raid. They drop exclusively Mayhem 4 in the raid. But you can also farm in other places outside of the raid.
Yeah.
Like in the world, the Slaughter Chapter 1, both the Trance, Troy Calypso, so on and so forth. Right? Now, we had been farming exclusively Mayhem 4 for roughly, I want to say, a week.
Oh yeah,
Like,
it would have been a while. Since it came out.
Oh, yeah.
We weren't fucking around on Mayhem 3. We were on Mayhem 4 the whole time.
Me, you, and Chris, we were doing side missions, doing story missions, going through Proving Grounds, all on Mayhem 4. Now, in a week's worth of farming legendaries. Now, this is how ridiculous it is, okay? There was not a single legendary that I got that I didn't sell.
Yeah.
There was one that I'm using.
The one that I got...
It's a Skeksis gun.
Since Mayhem 4 came out, the only upgrade I got, aside from this pistol, that we looked up and had to know was an upgrade, because the damage is bad, the item score is bad, it does the most damage out of any gun in my 200 plus ones I have, but for some reason it also has the lowest roll.
Right.
The lowest stats shown. Before that, the only one I got was a Mose that gave me a upgraded Brainstormer when he saw what I was doing in the raid.
Right.
She saw what I was doing in the raid, and she was like, I like this Amara, and I see that she's using the Brainstormer. I'm going to drop this on the ground and see if it's an upgrade, because I'm not using it.
Right.
And it's a huge part of my build. It's like my survivability. It's the way I'm able to strip the enemy shields off.
Right.
Like, it's a big deal. And so I picked that up. You never get that in any other game. No other game can someone just give you a gun.
Just drop it.
One of these other looter shooters. Can you trade in Anthem? Probably not. I don't know. I never played a piece of shit. I know you can't trade in Destiny because some monkeys had a grape slot machine.
Yeah.
Right? So like that alone that's a cool thing. But that's the only upgrade we got.
Right. And
everything else we got, it was just a straight up slew of duplicates that we already had in the bank.
And we're talking about of at least a week of exclusive Mayhem 4 farming. And it was literally, we were getting to the point where it was so frustrating not seeing anything after that period of time, especially on Mayhem 4, where the enemies, it turns every enemy into a bullet sponge. Like, even just regular enemies, if they have armor or shield, or, I mean, even both in the case of some COV enemies, it turns it into a 20-minute drain fest before that one is dead. You know what I mean? And so, really it boils down to this frustration of feeling like you see a brick wall, and you want to break it down. So, you start bashing your head against the brick wall, hoping that something's gonna break.
Hoping that there's a sledgehammer on the other side.
Yes.
That's the thing. I don't mind breaking the brick wall with my head. As long as once I get to the other side and in front of the other brick wall, there's a sledgehammer now.
Right.
And then after that, there's a fucking...
jackhammer.
Yeah, a jackhammer. And then after that, there's a fucking goddamn track hoe. Give me something to make it progressively easier.
Yes.
Because that's the problem right now with Mayhem mode overall. From 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. Is that it's not increasing the quality, it's only increasing the quantity.
And luck doesn't increase quality, it just increases
you need to have these guns dropping higher damage incrementally as you increase Mayhem difficulty. Otherwise, I as the player have no reason to do Mayhem. I'll put it on normal. I'll put it on normal and kill that guy 5 more times in the amount of time it would take me to kill him once.
Yes.
So yeah, I have less drop chance now, but the frequency at which I'm getting drops is higher because he's easier to manage.
Yes.
That's your problem. And maybe that was the point. Maybe you want that to be that way. But the thing is why include a Mayhem mode unless it's going to give the player a sense of endgame progression?
Yes.
Because that's the thing. Mayhem right now does not feel like an endgame progression like it should. No. Like you're getting better stuff in Mayhem 1 than you would in normal. And now you're getting better stuff in Mayhem 2. Now you're in Mayhem 3 and you're getting better stuff. Now you're going to be able to take on Mayhem 4. It doesn't feel like that at all.
At all.
At all.
And the breaking point for me when I started doing research and looking up and actually posting on the Gearbox forums was one day, after a week of farming Mayhem 4, not seeing shit, using the same guns that I got out of Mayhem 3 in the raid, I am pissed off. I want to do the raid on True Vault Hunter mode Mayhem 4. I'm like, fuck it. All day, I'm not doing shit. I'm not queuing for shit. I'm hunting for legendaries, and I'm hunting for upgrades. Specifically, I started with Katagawa Ball because he dropped the Brainstormer, and even though I would use it, it's beneficial for you, I would give it to your Amara.
Yeah.
You know, help you get some more damage and strip some shields, because you're doing more shock damage and raid on Mayhem 4 True Vault Hunter mode is fucking ludicrous. Anyway, so literally 35 empty slots, killed Katagawa Ball all day, and I got 516 Bangarang.
Yeah.
With like 200 damage.
Yeah.
Out of the raid on Mayhem 4, I saw a Fire Scale musket that dropped 197 damage.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's this sense of feeling like there's no clear-cut progression. And then when you add to that these guns,
there is incentive though. That's where
but once we found out about those guns, that's the incentive. If we didn't look those up though, that information is not given to the player.
And I didn't even know if they were
that information is given to the player if you go on their forums and like you did and go through all of these different topics.
Up a YouTube video.
That's my point though, Bart. That's my point, Chubbs, is this game did nothing to make that information. This game put forth damage numbers and said, this has more damage on it than this, right? So that will do more damage. Right. Now, I'm not going to say that, like, some of the guns aren't going to end up doing more damage. Like, there's one, like, I have that's a SMG that does more elemental damage than another one. Right. That has higher base damage. Right. The point of that being is that's still indicated by the percentage chance to cause elemental effect plus elemental damage. These are things that I as a player need to trust. I need to trust that the damage is reflective of what's on the weapon. I understand that the quirk with the legendaries is that they all do something a little different and you got to use them to get a feel for them. I love that. That's one of my favorite things about the Borderlands franchise. It never hinders you. It doesn't say, you can only have one of these equipped at a time. Because we only have 12 hours worth of content. We need to stretch it out. So you can only equip one of these at a time. Right? It doesn't do that bullshit. But it needs, those damage numbers at the very least need to be reflective, because that pistol that we got is hitting that fucking General Trant 10 times harder than my other pistol that says it does more damage and is shock.
Yes.
This gun is no element and it's doing more damage to his shields than my shock pistol that says it does more damage.
Yes.
That shit needs to be worked out.
Oh yeah.
And that's something that most players aren't going to see. This is something that only people who get to the end game farm and farm it for a while are going to see.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, those are kind of the people you want to make happy.
You want to have that shit.
The ones that are dumping in thousands of hours into these games because they're that good, and this farm is so fun, and it's exciting to get new guns, and then completely switch up your play style based on these new guns.
Yeah, and
that's what's so good about it. Don't fuck that up.
As somebody who hasn't been looking up outside knowledge too, one of the funnest things for me is being like, oh, they added new legendaries. I wonder what they are.
Yeah,
and I go out
try to
find them.
Try to get them, and we didn't see one for a week
at all. And it's because they only added 7, and they
only
very
drop very specific
bosses,
points.
One of which is only 1 kill, because it drops off of Pain.
Yeah.
And after you kill Pain and Terror, when you go back to farm that boss, you're only killing the Agonizer.
You can only kill the Agonizer.
So it's a one-time kill throughout the story. If you're on console and you're farming that guy, you have to kill him. If you don't see it, wipe your progress, go all the way back to the beginning of the game, push all the way up, kill him again.
No, you could save it.
On console.
Nah, you could save it.
I mean, on PC,
you
have
could
to
on
save
console.
It. Can you?
USB, save file, upload it to USB or cloud.
And then copy it to your... Yeah. I guess that is
You can do that shit on console.
But still, that's another thing. But all those Mayhem 4 exclusive legendaries, it is ridiculous how much damage they do in comparison
to what they say too.
Yes.
It says it does this damage, but all of a sudden it's doing 2,000 fucking per shot. What?
Yeah, how?
How? Why?
This isn't even an element.
If I did not know that this was one of the new guns added specifically to Mayhem 4, I would assume it's garbage and it would be treated as such.
Exactly.
And that's a shame.
And as of right now...
I would not feel like I got anything good.
At all.
Because I'd be like, oh look, it's a fucking 496 with like 300 damage. What a piece of crap.
Exactly.
And you need to get that shit figured out.
And the biggest problem in Mayhem 4 is nothing else dropping is gonna be beneficial for farming Mayhem 4.
Yeah, that's the progression we're talking. Anyway, that's at the end of the game, those are our few little bugaboos, and at the end of the day, we've already seen several hot fixes, we've seen content updates, we've seen seasonal events, we've seen a huge amount of effort and love on Gearbox's part towards the audience.
Yes.
Towards the consumer. And Randy says, I want people, when they buy a piece of content from us, to feel like they got the better end of the deal. I feel like that about every Gearbox product I ever bought. I've never bought Colonial Space Marines, but I feel like that about Battleborn. I have over 1,000 hours in fucking Battleborn when all is said and done, spread across the console and the PC. Yeah. Guaranteed, over 1,000 hours. Easy, dude. Easy. There were like 4 or 5 months where that's all I played.
Yeah.
All I played was Battleborn.
Wake up, you're ready to play.
I got my money's worth and then some. Regardless of all the issues that were a part of that game, Borderlands series, like over the course of the PS3 to the PC to now, like PS4, all the different places I've played that game, I've leveled every single character at some point. I've played every single character at some point. Dude, worth the money. Times 5.
Oh, yeah.
Borderlands 3, worth the money, dude.
Oh,
Times
yeah.
5. This
Every
free, and
single penny.
he's talking, Randy's talking about this. They have a raft of free content coming. So you're just going to keep adding free stuff to the game. When they add a DLC, it's not like Destiny where all of a sudden you have to buy that to stay relevant. Like, no.
Yeah.
They'll probably be exclusive legendaries that you can only get in that zone.
Right.
Because they're not about fucking the customer's mind. They're not about fucking the customer's time. And they're not about fucking the customer, period.
Yep.
Right? Bungie looks at you and they say, if you could see these dances, you'd throw fucking cash at the screen because they don't respect you. Because you're a pigeon who is susceptible to the same goddamn fucking experiments that were performed on a fucking chimp. On a fucking chimp. And they integrate that and tie it into the fiber of the game. Into the fiber of the game. Chimp experiments with slot machines. Gearbox respects us. I feel like Gearbox loves us.
Oh, yeah.
The fans. When I get to Sanctuary, I'm going to choke up. I got to Sanctuary for that first time. And I looked up and I saw that big banner that said, "Welcome home."
You're like, yes. You know.
I'm home.
You know.
I've been waiting for this for a long time, and I didn't feel like it under-delivered on any level.
At all.
Even the end game. Once you understand that there are weapons to farm, there is a progression there.
There is incentive.
Yeah.
It may be shitty.
It might be low. It might not be, and it might not be reflective. There might be the reflective of the damage numbers. It might not, like all those problems aside, it's still there.
Oh, yeah.
And that takes a long time to get there. Mm-hmm. And there's these Guardian ranks you can still farm that come at a pretty regular basis.
Oh, yeah.
There's these perks within that tree to obtain.
Yes.
There's class mods to hunt for with better rolls than the one you got because there's, it'll roll weapon damage and things like that. So even though I've got a good class mod that's the one I want, that hits the skills I want and gives me the legendary passive I want, there's still like, I could get one that rolls Maliwan damage. Maliwan reload speed, something that buffs my Maliwan guns because that's what I'm using mostly on my Siren.
Right.
Something like that's that's the thing. Mm-hmm. It doesn't feel like it's a shallow like come back tomorrow and go do 3 strikes.
Yeah.
Come back tomorrow and do this one activity and then come back next week.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like this is a game that wants you to stop playing it. It's a game that wants you to keep playing it, and it wants you to keep playing it because it's fucking fun, not because it's psychologically fucking
But yeah, that's the thing about
fuck you monkeys that made that game $1 billion within a fucking month of them releasing microtransactions. Fuck you monkeys that fucking give those goddamn Overwatch motherfuckers penny after dollar for skins. Because you are the fucking problem. And I guarantee these are the same little fucks like fucking fucking Paul Tassi. I hate the Halloween event. It makes the game harder. It's actively discouraging me from playing it. Oh, by the way, I spent $8,000 on loot boxes in Overwatch, and here's what I got. Fuck you people.
Seriously.
Thank you, Gearbox, for everything you goddamn do. I love you, because in this world, dude,
it is so easy.
This industry especially, it is easy to take advantage of these fucking morons. It's easy to fucking throw a net out with a bare bones hollow piece of shit and then update the motherfucker and get praised for sticking around. It's so easy to be that fucking company, and I fucking thank you from the bottom of my heart for not being that company. Thank you for treating me like an intelligent adult who wants to consume entertainment and not have my mind fucked with the whole time. Thank you. Martin Scorsese, thank you for The Irishman as well. I gotta throw that out there.
Yes.
Fucking wouldn't give him money for 9 years.
Really? You hear about a movie with Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, and Al Pacino, written and directed by Martin Scorsese.
We just don't think there's an audience for this anymore.
Fuck you, man.
What does that tell you about the audience?
Fuck you. You don't think there's an audience for that?
There's an audience, it's just not the people going to movies because we're sick of garbage.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it for me on Borderlands 3. I think overall, pick it up. If you haven't picked
Buy
it up, if you haven't picked it up and you're a fan of looters or shooters, either one in general, you should probably pick this one up. Do not give it a miss.
It's the best one on the market.
Yep. And
so good that it took us 2 hours and a half to review the motherfucker.
Yep.
Because that's how much we love this game.
Yep. And I would wholeheartedly tell every single person to spend as much money on this as you can. Because there's no microtransactions, no cosmetics, loot boxes, bullshit. They're going to do the cool thing that they did with Borderlands
It's
2.
all the fun of
where they're going to give you the campaign and shit.
You get the smooth shooting, you get the action, you get the loot farm, and it's not at the expense of nefarious microtransaction or any filth or anything like that on top of it. Mm-hmm. And you have a company that cares and is actively listening to the audience and inputting things that the audience is asking for.
Yes.
You have a company that cares here.
Oh, yeah.
And they deserve your money.
And they're not...
They deserve your support.
Exactly.
Whether they said, we will do a time deal with Epic Games because ultimately they're going to give us more money. It's going to be more beneficial for our studio and our developers who are putting their heart into this product and delivering a game that's pure in this time of impurity, that's pure fun, unadulterated fun. That's what it's meant to be. It's pure, right? They deserve your money, regardless of whether they made a financial decision that's more beneficial to them because they're going to get more money from Epic off of the sale, as well as the exclusive money that they're giving them to fucking hold that over, right? They deserve your fucking patronage. And how fucking dare any of you sit there, play this game for fucking one playthrough and then act like you can review it. Fuck you.
But that's it for us. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. You know why? Because it's 10 times better in every way than Borderlands 2.
Yep. It did not at all make me feel disappointed with this.
At all. At any point.
And that's something that's rare.
I think this endgame it did. But it's not disappointment. No. It's more of like a frustration because...
And that's something that was added after the fact. And it is something that does need irony.
Yes. Because you know that like Brandy was saying in the Borderlands show, it's like, yes, you can play test something and you can do Q&A and focus groups and all these things, but at the end of the day, there's a huge difference from doing that internally as a company with your limited resources as opposed to 5 million players day one. Mm-hmm. Right? You're gonna fucking find things. And not only that, 5 million players playing different characters of the endgame grind, like however many there are, like us.
Right.
There's a lot, because when we queue, it's pretty fast outside of that one matchmaking error bug. Mm-hmm. But there's pretty fast. There's a constant player base here, and I feel like those people are in this end game. They're going to notice these things, and it's going to be reported. And I think that Gearbox themselves probably have people that are playing it that are at the end game and noticing these things and talking to each other about these things internally. So I tell you, I have way more hope for them than, I mean, Destiny never gave you a substantial content update with new content for free. Not once. Not fucking once.
I don't know if this is true, but I'm just going to go out on a limb and be like, it's safe to assume that nobody at Bungie's continually playing Destiny.
I wouldn't play that game. If I was working for Bungie, I'd be playing Borderlands 3.
Fucking A.
That's it for me, Jax.
Chubs.
Fucking love you guys. Thanks for hanging out for the entire thing. If you're still here, fucking love you guys. You're the reason we're back doing this, and we're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep having regular videos come out. That's why it's been such a period where there's been nothing. We've been working on things, recording things, cutting things, because this sort of thing, 2.5 hours, we sat here for 2.5 hours. Now I got to stay here for another 2.5 hours, bare minimum, and find the footage and examples and, of all the hours and hours, like 30 plus hours of content I have saved on my hard drive. I got to figure out where these things are, find them, and do as best a job as I can with that. I love you guys. Thank you for understanding. Till next time, keep kicking ass, stay safe, and as always, fuck you, Bungie.